Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to Esports Masters League. We are here tonight for PSF1 action. It is Season 6. It's round 9 of the championship. We take in the Singapore Grand Prix from, of course, the Marina Bay Street Circuit. My name is James Head. You probably heard two of me in the background there. I'm going to be taking you through the commentary book. I'm going to be taking you through the race here tonight, of course, here in Singapore. Your lead commentator joining me in the commentary book, sitting to the right-hand side, rocking the Esports Wales sort of t-shirt there on the right-hand side as well. It is Mr. Ivor Bryn Mike, otherwise known as Michael Edwards. Mike, how you doing?
I am doing absolutely fantastic, and good eye on the top as well, James. Good eye on the top, but yeah, looking forward to this one. Honestly, Singapore is a race that I said this before off stream. I have never commentated over a bad race of Singapore. I might have just jinxed it, but I've never commentated on a bad race before. We'll touch wood. We'll touch wood that the strict stays alive.
Well, put it this way, if you have jinxed it, then I'm going to put that down as a commentator's curse on your end rather than on my end, and me taking the blame for everything that runs on this stream. But what we're going to do is have a look at the standings first and foremost, as who got the top three last week. Of course, it was a Shazoo 1-3, and it really brought the championship well into play for them. Shazoo Macho out on top, Jeslo there in second, Cameron Dowds there in third. If you're wondering, by the way, Jav there in the chat, I haven't got my light on. It is just natural light in my room. My blinds are halfway shut, so that's why you couldn't see me. It will be put on, though, when we get the cameras back on for the intermission. But what we can do, though, is run through the championship standings rather than bother about my light. ETA out on top on 279 points. Team Chazoo in second on 219. CPI in third on 215. NLR fourth on 205, Team TF10 and fifth on 193. Now they are the only five teams still within title contention coming into tonight. IRT, EPL, X Esports, WR, and RCR are all out of contention. And by what we saw last week, of course, in I think it was Jeddah, if I'm not mistaken, last week, ETA out on top, 60 points advantage. Team Chazoo, though, if they back up with a 1-3 again tonight, they're going to be well and truly in title contention going into the final round of the championship.
Yeah, and we absolutely saw last week. I mean, it was almost a Shazoo 1-2. Of course, Jesla getting the drag race to the line, just pipping ahead of Cameron Dowds, if I remember correctly. It was almost free wide going across the line. But yeah, I mean, around here in Singapore, I mean, if ETA have another shaky race as what we saw last week, where one of the drivers end up out of the race, it really does bring the likes of Shazoo, CPI, and of course NLR TF10 right into it going into the final round, which is why I put the question in the chat earlier. Predictions, will ET8 wrap up the championship tonight? Because it is possible for them to do it.
I have already given that, by the way, as I mentioned to Mike just before we came live, a definitive no. I don't think ET8 are going to be anywhere near the top, I think. Even though they've got Mateo, who's PSGL, PSF1 champion in Season 36, in this lineup tonight, they have swapped out one of their drivers, which we'll have a look at now. X Esports, of course, with the same lineup as last week in Luca Rapazza and Jeslar. Shazoo have got the return of Kazizzle, who I haven't seen in a few weeks, actually, in League Racing. So welcome back, Kazizzle. Hope you are doing well. Cameron Dowds alongside him for Team Shazoo as well. That is a very strong lineup, I've got to say, for them here tonight. Gavana with a qualifying ban, and Rayen for EPL. Gatkowski, Max Power, former VRT man back in the day here in EML, there for CPI. Mateo and Azem. Azem now replacing Ian Van Unen, who was due to be racing. If Ian Van Unen was racing, I would have said ETA have got a strong lineup, but my questions now are going to be answered within this 80-minute qualifying session and do the 31-lap race that awaits us out on track. RCR, I've got Matt Zolso and Aladini. Matt Zolso's first appearance for 3 races. Ryan and Keki in for NLR. Very strong lineup, I've got to say, from them. Markados, who I'm very much looking forward to seeing racing once again, out on track. Mitchie alongside him, the former PSGL, PSF1 man back in Season 31. Yes, you can tell I've aged a little bit in terms of my archiving. Fleddy and Devon there for IRT. IRT Devon, of course, a multiple-time race winner in EML F1, including Season 4 and Season 5 in FBR. And Ismail and WR Feddy there for WR as well. We'll have a look, though, at the drivers now filtering out on track because, what I can report, A, it is dry, and B, we've got cars out on track.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the drivers will be absolutely breathing a sigh of relief that it's dry here in qualifying because there's nothing In my opinion, nothing more difficult than a wet Singapore, because it can. I mean, in the dry, you're on the edge anyway, you're scraping the walls. In the wet, you are literally brushing with a DNF every single corner, in my opinion.
Ooh. But you've said it's not going to be wet in qualifying. I've just had it confirmed in the chat there by Admire, who I think is a part of the CPI team, if I'm not mistaken. Wet race. Wet race here in Singapore, which could mean one or two things. We're going to see an absolute masterclass from somebody in the field, or we are going to see all hell breaking loose out on track. And I have a feeling, judging by what I saw last night in Legacy Division in Australia, I hope to God we're not going to get 2 nights in a row of bad driving out on track, because I'm frankly sick of it.
Yeah, I think I echo those sentiments as well. But if there's going to be a wet race, it's going to be interesting to see whether it's going to be full wet compound tires or whether it's going to be intermediate conditions, because I think intermediates are a bit more manageable around here, but the wet, the understeer is absolutely diabolical.
It is, and of course, Inters can dispose of 25 litres of water a second, as opposed to full wets, which dispose of 75 litres of water a second out on track. Freddy doesn't care about that fact, though. He's on the run line to start up on his lap here at Singapore. So we're right on board with the WR man. WR Fedders P on the run down in towards turn number 1, then to the right-hander turn number 2. But already gets the angle wrong coming through turn number 2, because he's just invalidated on his lap time, which means we can go on board with my favourite driver out on track. Sorry, Matteo. Cameron Dowds is out on track, coming through the left-hander at turn number 3, and in towards the right-hander now, turn number 5, passing the Singapore Eye there, just adjacent to the left-hand side of the track. Now coming down Raffles Boulevard, in towards turn number 6, in towards Memorial Corner at turn number 7. Cameron Dowds' first sector, 26.4. Bang on what you should be doing on a banker lap around here. Coming through the left-hand now, 7, then in toward the right-hander of turn number 8, and then in towards Penang Corner at turn number 9. Not looking too bad, I've got to say. Cameron Dowds on this lap. The curbs really do come out in you. The wall really comes out in you there on the right-hand side of turn number 9. Now into the old Singapore Sling, through the left-hander turn number 10, through the right-hander turn number 11, and now across the Anderson Bridge, through 12, through the kink of 13, and then into the left-hander now of turn number 14, at the hairpin with 19 turns on this track. It's going to be really hard to see, really good to see, how drivers can actually get on out on track. The 103 flat in the middle sector from Cameron Dowds is not too bad. This is where the track has actually changed from when we last came here in Season 4, coming through the left-hander. This was an escape road, but we're now coming down into the right-hander turn 16 and 17, into the second chicane out on track, and then into the final couple of corners through the double left-hander for Cameron Dowds on the run to line with the Flying Scotsman at a 127.5 to start off the night. Not a bad run at all.
Absolutely not, and times will only improve as the session goes on, as Keke there pops into P2 at 28.1, so already a 6 times gap for the Shazoo man up top, and he'll be very happy with his opening banker there.
Definitely will be. Jeslar coming across the Anderson Bridge there. Freddy's backed off on another run. Matteo, PSL PSF1 champion in Season 36. Yes, I'm going to be saying that a lot tonight. Coming through the left-hander with turns 18 and 19 on the run to the line, and he goes second. So already we've got the Cameron Dowds-Matteo battle in qualifying that we all want to see, or certainly I want to see out on track. Cameron Dowds out on top. From Matteo there in second, Ryan there in third. We've got IRT Devon, I think, on the run toward the line as well. He's actually coming through the left-hander turn number 15 there, in towards 16 and 17. But out on top so far, Cameron Dowds, the Flying Scotsman, for Matteo, the Italian Stallion, and then you got the German of Ryan back there in third, with Luca Rapazza in fourth, and Mark Laws on his return back there in fifth position. Devon now on the run to the line. EML specialist normally, 10th position from him. Out qualifying Gatkowski, who's normally quite good in qualifying, but Devon's first run not filling me with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, not at all. And I mean, there's definitely going to be more time out there. Maybe a couple of mistakes there from Devon. Maybe just snagging a couple of the inside curves a bit too much. As I was just on board with Mark's power as he crossed the line, 28.1 for him as well. In terms of lap time, still waiting to see. Obviously, we got Michi out on track, Azim out on track, and Fede, of course. Azim is invalidating on his lap. So maybe that's just alluding to the... to what he was alluding to earlier of the ET8 lineup changing and potentially not having the strongest lineup that they would have wanted here tonight.
Yeah, Ian Van Unen's certainly strong around this track, so obviously I know things happen in real life and he's probably not available, but Ian Van Unen I think would have been a stronger driver from my perspective than Azem, but Azem there, in 18th position, still has got very good ground to try and make up on his lap times, and there still will be more lap times coming in as Mitchie is now coming through the final couple of corners on the run to the line. The man once considered by F7R Frankie as being one of the best no assist drivers on pad back on F122. He's there in 15th position. So Mitchie has lost his way a little bit. 28.6. He's nearly a second off Cameron Dowd. In fact, he is a second off Cameron Dowd. Out on top, it's Cameron from Matteo from Ryan, currently in the top three. And as you say, Azem Aladini, who's actually coming back out the pit lane, and Fetty, all into the pit lane on their first runs. But it's pretty much how I expect them to be honest, at the top end of the field. Kazizel as well on his return. Good to see him back on the track. Obviously, he's been in, I think, in hospital, if I'm not mistaken. I know Team Chazoo were updating me about this a couple of weeks ago, I think, in PSGL. And Kazizel was one of those drivers that unfortunately caught something, I think, ended up in hospital, ended up, I think, recovering, and he's been he's taken back 2 or 3 weeks out. Kazizel is back, and he's there in 6th position. I'll tell you what, behind Markadors, who's an EML PC winner in Jeddah, very, very strong showing so far for the man who has not been on the track, at least for me. I haven't seen him on the track in about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, Kazulo coming back and definitely going to be looking to show he hasn't missed a step whilst being out. And it's good to see him back out on the track after, as you said, being under the weather and for the past couple of weeks. But great to see him back out on track, and I think great timing for Team Chazoo as well.
It is great timing for Team Chazoo. It is definitely going to be close. Looking through the chat as well, Azem is underrated. Azem is really good. Everyone backing up that. Obviously, from our perspective, I haven't actually commentated, I don't think, on Azem before. It might have been under a different moniker, different name that I have, if you have done. But Azem, they're down in 18th position. Not a bad run so far. I mean, he hasn't got lap time on the board, but the more that he gets practicing around this track, the more he will fill with confidence. And that eats out confidence. I'm sure will be bounding. They're a very good team. If they can produce the goods, they usually do. And Azem there could produce the goods on track. Aladini, however, maybe not so much. Coming to the left-hand return 17, on the run toward the line on to start his lap. Down in 19th position, RCR really do need a miracle on this run from Aladini to get anywhere near where they're supposed to be and avoid, of course, relegation going on to the new game.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's called with regards to Azima, that is a name that, of course, I have been able to commentate on in the past. Of course, in PSGL F4 last season, in season 35. So I do have a little bit of experience with Azim. I did finish 7th in last season's PSGL F4, and I believe this season he did get promoted. If I'm just quickly going to fact check 2 seconds. But yeah, I mean, Azim, very good driver. I just say Ian Van Unen is just, in my opinion, just he got the edge on him, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, Azim's probably one of the up-and-coming drivers out of each state, as opposed to a well-known name like Ian Van Unen, who's former Team Veloce Academy, and obviously that experience would have been really good. Anyways, it's if buts and maybes. It's absolute out on track, though, for ETA here tonight if they want to try and wrap up the championship. Aladini, though, trying to wrap up his lap. Through the middle sector, a 104.6 is on par with what I normally do around this track from Aladini. I'm not being funny whatsoever. This is going to be the slowest time, I've got to say, out of everyone. Ismail Mitchie there down with the 28.6 and the 28.7. Aladini, the Frenchman, now coming into the left-hander, turn number 17. On the run to the line through the double left-handers now, turns 18 and 19. Cameron Dowd, I believe, is on a lap time through the end of the first sector as well. Aladini to the line, 29.3. Makes me look very quick, I've got to say, around this track with that lap. Cameron Dowd out on top, Matteo in second. Ryan there in third. IJ there saying in the chat, no way you're so fast, James. Yeah, I could prove it, but then again, I'll be taking one of these guys' spots. It's probably not worth it.
Sorry, what if I join you on there without the commentary team out on track?
Well, you'll be either spin Mike and use that emoji and that soundboard, as Fetty is there, crashed, I think, through the final corner. So Fetty is out of the session. The WR man further down the field, so he will not get a lap time on the board. Cameron Dowd, however, 500s up out of the middle sector, on the run, into the pit lane. Never thought I'd say that at the end of the lap. He was looking very good. Obviously, he doesn't feel like he's good coming through that final sector. Cameron Dowd's back in the pit lane. Mateo responding first sector, 7,000 up. Ryan responding middle sector, 102.971. So slightly slower than what Cameron Dowd was setting, but he is up and he's purple in that middle sector, which is crucial for NLR.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan looking to find all the time possible in the final sector now. He's almost a tenth and a half up, and this would get him up onto the front row. Needs a bit more, though, in the final sector as Marcados goes up in the P2 there with a 27.584. But here comes Ryan to the line.
Nice.
Divisional pole.
Yeah, nice lap there from Ryan. Mateo's backed off in the middle sector, so obviously made a mistake. Maybe across the Anderson Bridge is where he made that mistake. So the ET8 man there down in 4th position. Luca Rapata is on a run 700s down, but he's 2.7 seconds down in that middle sector. And I have a feeling he's actually been blocked by Aladini on a lap, if I'm not mistaken. If I saw that correctly, Aladini was in front of him. Looked like Luca Rapata may have been getting blocked there, if I'm not mistaken. Luca Rapata, speaking of which, gets out of the way of Carlson coming in behind him. He'll be coming back into the pit lane. But that's not a great session from him. What is a great session, though, is E8 Azim going there into second. Not a bad run there at all from him. Ahead of Cameron Dowd, ahead of Markenhus. Certainly making me, in terms of my notes, because he changed so late, look like an absolute mug.
I mean, Cazuzzo just improved on his time, going up into P7, 27.7 for him, so finding an extra 10th in that final sector. But yeah, great lap from Azim, and honestly, I mean, I haven't seen much of Azim since obviously commentating on him in F4 and PSGL last season, but definitely seems like he stepped up a gear.
Definitely. So, IJ there saying in the chat, surely Ian would have done better. Right, James? Yeah, he's making me look like an absolute mug, I've got to say out on chat. But I'm there to stand to be corrected. That's the thing. It's a good thing within commentary, because a driver that I have necessarily not commentated on can come and completely surprise me, and then I can jump aboard the hype train that is going to be happening out on track. And with ET8, as I say, as a team, really good setup that they've got going. I know they mentioned as well last night in Legacy Division that will be practicing for their races. Of course, the mystery track coming up in Legacy Division on Tuesday night, and they are going to be approaching that pretty much by throwing every single member of their squad onto the tracks that are available and seeing who was going to be the quickest guys. I know EPL are doing that. I think a couple of other teams potentially going to be doing that as well. But back here in the now of EML, ETEC really do need a really good result. 2nd and 5th currently in qualifying. Ahead of Cameron Dowd's there in 3rd. Ahead of Kazizzle there in 7th. Team Chizou their closest rivals. Not a bad qualifying session from ET8 at all. And Azim definitely making me look like an absolute wally in the commentary box.
Yeah, I mean, definitely does seem like Azim has stepped it up now since I've last commentated on him. One thing I will say, though, on the contrast there, slightly disappointing qualifying session so far from the CPA lads. Kikakowski done in 9th and Max Power in 14th.
Gatkowski, if I'm not mistaken, this is not one of his strongest tracks. Judging from last season in Legacy Division, I think he might have raced there. He definitely doesn't like Singapore as opposed to other tracks, but you never know. There in P9, he has got very good amount of pace in qualifying, could definitely prove that. And Max Power there in 14 was once considered one of the real bright stars on F122 in Team VRT. Now has joined the CPI setup recently. I think he joined them at the back end of last year. And he's there in 14th position. And he's behind Fleddy, who of course picked up a P4 finish in League of Europe on Saturday. So he has got form with Fleddy. Rayen picked up a podium in Legacy Division. See where I'm going with this? Max Power could find form within this qualifying session.
Maybe, of course, 3 minutes to go remaining in this qualifying session. Everything can still change as Matt Zozo is the first man out on track.
Matt Zozo is indeed the first man out on track. Admire actually saying in the chat, Kei Kakowski has had no practice, so that probably explains a certain part of why he's on a 27.9. He's not necessarily up there with the likes of Azim, the likes of Cameron Dowd, the likes of Marcadors within this session. But it's Ryan out on top, Azim there in 2nd, Cameron Dowd there in 3rd. I'm going to leave you in the very capable hands of Mr. Michael Edwards, just so I can get my lights and everything turned on. I'll be back in a minute. Mike, take it away with Matt Zozo on an outlap.
Yep, so Matt Zozo now coming through the middle sector, of course going to be gearing himself up to try and get himself up the order, currently down in P16 as we come through the hairpin. And everyone now flooding out of the pit lane, getting themselves out on track. Traffic going to be an issue at the end of the session, that is for sure. So they're going to have to make sure that they back off and give themselves adequate room to get their flying laps underway. Of course, as we got Matt Zozo now coming to the end of his out lap. And we'll be going on a full lap here with the RCR man. And as he's about to get himself underway here, foot to the floor now. And let's see what the RCR driver can do. Coming through the final corner now to get his lap underway. DRS wide open on the run down into the braking for turn number 1. As he throws the car in, avoids the inside curb, runs deep though onto the curb in through turns 2. Does gets away with the invalidation there. But not ideal for Matt Zozo, but coming now in towards turn number 5. Throws the car in 4th gear, foot to the floor once again, DRS wide open on the run down towards the braking of turn number 7. Through the kink of turn number 6 now. As I believe James is back, but Matt Zozo coming up to a bit of traffic. He's going to hope that they will get out of the way ASAP here.
Yeah, 200s up through the first sector. He's not looking too bad, I've got to say. Matt Zozo on this lap time, but RCR need an absolute miracle, I've got to say, out on track. They're, what, 16th and 18th currently in qualifying. Gavono having the qualifying ban, Fetty crashing out through the final corner, gives them a slight bit of confidence. But on a 28.5, we should be seeing Matt Zozo more towards the 27s, I think, as Matteo has picked up an illegal blocking penalty. Means a mandatory restart. Matt Zozo, that was really good. Coming across the Anderson Bridge section now, in toward the right-hander of turn number 14 at the end of this back straight. And Matt Zozo was a 103.5 in that middle sector. Not necessarily going to be the quickest guy out on track, but he has got a bit of slipstream going on ahead. And this is what drivers may tend to do in their final runs. That was good slipstream in there by the RCR guys, and Matt Zozo now coming through in towards 16 and 17 underneath the underpass, now into all the left-handers at turns 18 and 19 on the run to the line then with Matt Zozo. What's his lap time going to be? Much better, 28.2. That's more like it from RCR, and he goes ahead of his ball.
Yeah, ahead of Ismail, and of course Aladini going to be getting his lap underway. But look at all the traffic right now out on track, James. If someone does make a mistake, they're going to have to be hard-pressed to get out of the way of the car behind them, because the gaps now coming through Sector 1 is way, way too close for my liking.
They are really very close indeed. IRT Devon has improved in the middle sector, 103.2. In that middle sector, I think it's him, Ferrari, maybe Max Power just backing off. He's actually got no front wing on the right-hand side there. One of the CPI drivers certainly has. Devon, though, is on the run to the line along with Freddy. Freddy's going to be first, I think, to come across the line along with Luca and Jesdal. They go 7th and 9th, respectively. Freddy, though, improving on the run to the line, goes 7th, ahead of Luca Rapazza. Where's Devon going to filter in all this? Does he go quicker? No, he goes 11th, 27.8.
I was just on board with Matteo. 2.5 times up in the middle sector.
I thought I saw somebody with no front wing there. I may be mistaken. I'm just flicking through very quickly. But yeah, you're right. Matteo is up by 2.5 tenths, as is Marquinhos through the first sector as well. He's purple out of everyone. Matteo on the run to the line goes quickest for now. Azim, though, is quicker. And Cameron Dowds is even quicker as well. Cameron Dowds now coming into all the left-handers now. Turns 18 and 19. Is this going to be the rivalry from PSGL back in EML? Oh, he goes second, but it's not good enough to detect Matteo off pole position. Azim now on the run to the line for ETA. Can they make it a 1-2? Yes, they can. Azim goes quicker than Cameron Dowds, 27.3. Marquinhos, as I mentioned, was 2 tenths up. He's 500ths up in the middle sector. Now the Team TF10 man needs a miracle. Coming through the final couple of corners on the run to the line. And he goes 5th. He does improve in terms of his lap time, does improve his turn in his position. Somebody's really gone off there in the background. That was Mitchie crashing, coming through the final corner. It's Matteo out on top, Azim there in second, Cameron Dowds there in third. Fantastic end to that qualifying session. And ETA 1-2. Who's the only doubter for ETA tonight? Me. I've been proven wrong.
Well, I mean, it's one thing to do it in qualifying, James. As you know, it's a very different thing to do it in the race. So we have to see how they get on in the race. And of course, with the weather conditions going to be playing a factor, but I'll let you take us through the order.
Yeah, definitely so. Matteo out on top from Azim there in second. ETA 1-2, exactly what the doctor ordered here in Singapore. Cameron Dowds there in third with Ryan in fourth. Marquinhos there in fifth. Ryan there in sixth. Then it's Keki, Fleddy, Luca Rapazza and Kazizel top 10 on his return. Jesdal there in 11th with Devon 12th. Gatkowski 13th. Max Powell 14th. Ismail there in 15th. Aladini 16th, Mazzolsa 17th, Quicklin TF10, Mitchie in the end. Mitchie's lap time was not representative of what he can do. 28.6, disappointing from him. Gavano had a qualifying ban, but he does stay ahead of Fetty in terms of that lap time. Fetty, of course, crashed out through turn number 1. We're going to have a slight intermission break from our sponsors, Next Level Racing. We'll be back with you in around about 30 seconds. Welcome back, everyone, to Esports Masters League. We are here tonight for season number 6. It's round 9 of the championship. It's Singapore. And as you can see on your screen, for the last couple of minutes or so, you've had a very good look at the championship standings coming into tonight. EC8 with a 1-2 there in qualifying, with Azim there in second, Mateo topping the session in the end. Who else topping the session at his beloved Singapore in ET8? Mateo. But the big question is, what on earth are drivers going to do at the start of this race? Because we saw within that lobby, it was wet to start off the race. And I know Admire mentioned there was an 87% chance of rain. In that lobby that we had, everyone was on a dry compound of tyres at the start. So there is going to be much questions about what weather it is going to be put on. Ryan has already said in Discord, it is going to be wet in terms of rain, and then it's overcast and then cloudy and sun to end off the session. But we were having a discussion just in the break there about how difficult it is to mimic the qualifying, what we had there at the start of that race, compared to what we're going to have at the start of this lobby.
Yeah, it's going to be almost impossible to mimic what we was in store for. I mean, I'm not sure whether it was going to be like the dry tires would have been just a little bit quicker at the start and then would have gone to Inters, but I mean, we would have been treated to an absolutely intriguing start of the race as the rain was out there. It would have been interesting to see how the drivers would have got on struggling around a damp Singapore, but maybe we'll get to see that at some point in the race.
Potentially so. I mean, what Ryan has said in the race director chat, because we can see this. It is rain, overcast, cloudy, and sun. Carson there saying in the chat, fixed weather is more boring. Unfortunately, I agree with that. To be honest, I mean, it would have been very tasty at the start of the race if we were to get rain and everyone to start on a dry compound of tires. But the thing is, if you put it to rain within this race, it automatically goes to intermediate compound of tires and there is no way of getting around that apart from putting it to dry at the start, which defeats the object, the entire object of what the weather was going to be like in the race anyways. So we have to try and stick it by the protocol, by everything. We can ready up as well. Ryan, very quick in terms of getting the custom lobby up and ready, the custom grid up and going. We can now ready up though, which means we don't have to waffle on for that too much longer. But it's ETA out on top on 279 points coming into tonight. Team Shazoo in second on 219, CPI in third on 215, NLR in fourth on 205, Team TF10 and fifth on 193. Splitting the standings currently in two. The top five obviously within the possibilities of having their races very much towards the top end of the field. Those five teams also still within title contention. It is going to be increasingly interesting, I think, to see what the drivers fare and how ETA can manage a 1-2 from the front, because they've done it once this season. We saw CPI do it one season as well. And in the end, could ETA follow what CPI did in Kota?
I mean, potentially. I mean, ETA are starting from a fantastic position with a front row lockout, and of course, if they do get a 1-2, I mean, that's wrapped up the championship, and what a way to do it with a 1-2 finish. So I think that will be interesting to see if they're going to be able to do it. And obviously, we've seen CPI do it back in Kota, so I mean, I wouldn't put it past ETA, but I know Team Shazoo are going to be all over trying to get up there. NLR are going to be all over them as well. TF10, CPI is going to be in the makings of, in my opinion, possibly a race of the season candidate.
Oh, race of the season candidate. I'm liking your vibe here tonight there, Mike. I'm really enjoying your vibe in the commentary box alongside us. Actually, we'll go to the track map and actually have a look at what the drivers have got to face here out on track tonight. 5 kilometres then 3.1 mile, 19 turns, 3 DRS zones, 1 down the start finish rating towards turn number 1, 1 in towards turn number 7, down into a Memorial Corner, and then 1 in towards turn number 14 at the end of the middle sector as well. Plenty of overtaking opportunities, including the reprofiled Sector 3, which is going to increase a lot of overtaking. And judging by what we're seeing out on track, it's pretty much similar conditions. So, you know what, Ryan, if this is the case and we're starting on dries, Ryan has got this spot on, but I can immediately spy in Red Bull's garage intermediates there for Luca Rapatta's. So I think we are going to start with intermediate compounded tyres, which many teams are not going to be happy by, but it's only what you can do and what the game gives us, I'm afraid.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing that Ryan can do to completely mimic what we saw in the first race. But I mean, the conditions look very similar. So I mean, you never know. You never know. I mean, it could have been a case of the dries were slightly quicker at the start of the race, but it would have been on inters immediately, so you just stuck on the dries and retired from the session. I mean, who knows? Who knows? I think, regardless, I think we're in for a brilliant start of the race.
Yeah, because Izzle mentioning about the weather there in the Discord, saying restart IMO and do proper weather. I mean, you could do that, but I mean, look at the rain now. I mean, the rain on my screen, it looks like it's got increasingly easier compared to when we even loaded into the lobby. So, might be the case where we're not on for these compounded sides very long, and then we get overcast and sun within the first 10-15 minutes of the race, and then we turn to dry compounded tyres about 20 minutes into the race. It's just one of those things. The 500 lights are about to go out down on track. Hopefully the drivers will drive, and hopefully the drivers will get off the line well. And it is. Lights out and away we go in EML. And it's Mateo that gets a good start. Azim, though, was alongside him. Down in towards turn 1. Nite will hold the 1-2. Or are they? Because Cameron Dowds goes all the way around the outside at turn number 1 on Azim. And that is beautiful from the man who's second in the championship in PSGL. Goes around the outside of turn number 3. Still there is Azim, though, on the outside line now for turn number 5. Cameron Dowds, though, surely going to get this one done. He has. He's through and he's into second. Ryan on the back of Azim. They come down Raffles Boulevard for the first time. Everyone scraping for grip in behind. Rayen is on the back of Keki. Luke Rapata on the back of Kazizel. 3 wide now with Ryan to the inside line of Azim. They're very much controlled, though, coming through the left-hand of turn 7 at Memorial Corner. Mateo leads the way. Cameron Dowds in second. Azim there in third. Everyone, I think, is clean through, apart from Aladini, who's in strife in the background. Oh, as that Kazizel nearly hit the wall there from Luke Rapata on the outside line. Now through turn number 8, 9 and Penang Corner. And the Red Bull just about comes out on top. And now you've got Gatkowski flying down the inside line of Jesler. This is manic on that one.
Yeah, everyone getting used to the conditions, feeling the track out, feeling where the grip is. And yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of overtaking action here on lap 1. Guys getting very close to the balls.
Max Power! And that is just beautiful. Can he get the move done, though, down in towards turn number 14? That was one of the most ridiculous overtakes I think I've seen on this game. Max Power outside line across the Anderson Bridge in intermediate compounded tyres. Man has got a death wish out on track, but he's got the move done. He's into 13. Jeslow is still there, though, on the outside line. Now coming in towards turn number 14. Everyone's on a set of intermediate compounded tyres, by the way. Turn the telemetry on, turn the lap data on as well. But Max Power has got that job done. Absolutely remarkable overtake. But Jeslow gets the switch back, and all of that good work for Max Power has now gone completely wrong. Or has it? Because he gets the switch back at the final corner on the run to the line. This is a brilliant battle between the both of them. I think Jeslow's going to settle in for 13th. Max Power there in 14th. Great battle between them both. And hopefully that's just a sign of things to come as he's one right coming through turn 2.
And obviously at the front, obviously Mateo absolutely gone in the distance. 1.2 is the gap between himself and Cameron Dowds. So Mateo having a very good start, pulling that second gap almost immediately. Cameron Dowds under a bit of pressure from the likes of Azim and Ryan. I presume that's how the gap was formed early on. But we are starting to see a little split now from 7th and 8th beginning to form as well, which will make things difficult for the likes of Kazizel as well as the CPI pairing of Kigakowski and Max Power.
Yeah, Freddy definitely not as strong as a pace compared to Rayan, I think, around this track. That's why you're seeing the gap now increasing to 1.3, 1.2 seconds, around about that sort of stature. Azim on the back of Cameron Dowds is struggling very much to try and keep up with the man in P2 right now. Coming around the outside, though, Markedos, I think, got very deep there on the brakes into the hairpin. Nearly contacted there with his fellow German of Ryan. The first time they've made contact in this game cycle. Of course, in PSGL, that was. Markedos and Ryan 4th and 5th position. Keki, Rayen, Fleddy, Luka Rapatsa, Kazizel top 10. Then it's Steven Gatkowski, Jeslar, Michi, Max Power top 15. Ismail, Gavano, Freddy, Aladini was in strife early on, has actually overtaken his teammate Matoso, who's right down there at the back of the field. But Mateo leads the way. Cameron Dowds in second. Azim there in third. This race is not going to be a slow burner, I think. Coming around the outside now, turn 18 and 19. Azim ran very wide and now puts him under complete pressure from Ryan down the straights in towards turn 1. Azim very much lacking there, I've got to say, in straight line speed. Ryan all over the back of him through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, Ryan putting the pressure on Azim now, and honestly, with the conditions out on track, I mean, obviously it's going to be in this for a few more laps, but with it possibly going to dries, I feel like right now, I think the likes of Team Shazoo and TF10 are probably in a better position.
Rayen was looking on the back of Keki there, and he's still looking on the back coming through turn number 7. Not a chance that he's going to get that one done, I'm afraid. Gavana, though, is getting the job done on Ismail, and down in towards turn number 7 at Memorial Corner. Puts him on the outside curb. Nice job there by Gavano. And you are allowed to do that, I've got to say, out on track. It is very difficult to run side by side through that part of the track through turn number 7. So we don't want to be running side by side. Gavano got forced Ismail there out on the outside curb. Nice move, though, because it was all clean. There was no contact involved in that. All clean. It's just the nature of how that corner is as well. Mateo leads the way. Cameron Dowds there in second. Azim there in third. Ryan and 4th. Markedos there in 5th in the early stages underneath the bright city skyline here in Singapore. And hopefully you are enjoying the stream. 36 of you tuning in. If you are enjoying the stream, like, comment, subscribe, check that notification bell if you're brand new to the channel. Are we going to see another Max Power special further down the field in the back of Mitchie? Not quite just yet.
Not quite yet, and I think Matteo now starting to get comfortable to the conditions, because he's pulled that gap out again on Cameron Dowds. New fastest lap coming in from Matteo, just echoing that point. And yeah, I mean, what I was saying earlier was obviously with the track, it's going to get drier at some point. I mean, right now I think it's better place for the likes of Team Suzuki and TF10, because you look at it, ETA drivers are quite close to each other on track, so one of them's going to get hung out to dry. And the same with the Neverlast Racing drivers as well.
Yeah, definitely. And judging by Azim seems really slow in a straight line. I'm not sure if he's got many, maybe just a little bit impetus in terms of damage, potentially, if he's picked it up against the wall or something. But 1.7 seconds of Cameron Dowds. I mean, Cameron Dowds is a very quick driver, don't get me wrong. But Azim, judging by what ETA have been saying there in the chat, doing a fantastic job, but he's seemingly lacking the pace, I've got to say, in this early stage of the race. Ryan's all over the back of him with 94% of ERS. Azim's on 65, so no matter what Azim does ahead, Ryan is always going to cover off thanks to the battery advantage that he's got out on track. So this, for me, if I was in Azim's shoes, I'd literally be saying, right, you've got to try and up your pace, my friend. Otherwise, you've got a rampaging NLR man who can attack aggressively on the inside line of you, right in behind you, to go in towards turn number 14. Is Ryan going to try this potentially down into turn 14 now? No, he's not, but he is there for that battle.
Yeah, as we got Ryan there on the back of Keki again, getting close to the back of the NLR driver.
Oh, here comes Ryan now. Ryan makes contact there with the back of Azim, just slightly getting caught off camber. Now coming through the right hand at 16 and 17. Ryan is starting to less and less fall out on track, I've got to say as well. Ryan can't complete the move. Ryan on the back of Keki, which I think you were mentioning about there as well. Down in P6 and 7, they're trying to fight the move, and Ryan might try and fight the car down towards turn number 1, but he's not quite close enough. Mateo leads the way, Cameron's out in second, Azim there in third, and what I can already say out on track is the rain is beginning to stop.
Yep, the rain decreasing exponentially over the past couple of laps, and I wonder how long it's going to take to go to those dry compound tyres, because the track evolution can change pretty quickly around here at Singapore.
Well, judging by, I'm not sure if it's the gleam of the lights potentially, as Ryan's very much on the back of Azim in towards turn number 7 there. I'm not sure if it's the gleam of the lights or if it's just purely the track surface here in Singapore. I think it's a little bit dry, actually, offline, compared to everything. There's a spinner further down the field. Gavano was being spun, I think, through turn number 7 and Memorial Corner. He's got the car back going again. Matilda, by the way, came in the pit lane for a fresh set of inters. But, judging by this, the rain is stopping out on track. There's hardly a drop of rain now falling on the Singapore circuit. And normally, with the longevity of this track, with around, what, a 139 lap time, I think, or 142 lap time in terms of pole position, in terms of fastest lap right now, we're going to be seeing that quicker and quicker and quicker. And Marcador's there on the back of Ryan, getting even closer. Could mean we could get some forceful moves, as the rain, I think, has now stopped.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think the rain has stopped now. And in terms of the track now, I think there's a dry line beginning to form on the racing line now.
Yeah. Which indicates to me this track is going to drive very quickly. And I wouldn't be surprised to say drivers will be in maybe next lap, maybe certainly lap 7 for a fresh set of dry compound tyres, which will probably be, if they can get to the end, set of hards.
Set of hards. It'll be interesting to see if anyone decides to go for a set of mediums to be on a quicker compound tyre, and try and make another stop. Maybe
Kazizzle! Goodness me, I was taking a drink there. Didn't expect to see Kazizzle going down the inside on a look for a pattern and all that. And now Devon goes side by side. A battle that they've had in the past around here in Singapore between these two. They need to get caught on each other. And now Gatkowski's got a firing shot at the back of both of them down in towards Memorial Corner. Is the Ferrari going to pull 3 wide down the straight in towards turn 7? Devon tries to go all the way around the outside, and Kazizzle's still there on the outside line now for turn number 8. Devon's got the inside line, going to try and put him in the wall. He nearly does, and I think he might have damage potentially there. Kazizzle, very aggressive racing, I've got to say, from Devon in the end. But that's what you've got to be around this track. You've got to be aggressive. You've got to get the moves done. Devon through and he's into 10. Could have got that move done, I think, Mike, a lot cleaner.
Yeah, and visually, I'm not seeing any damage on Kazizel's car, so he might have got away with that. But obviously, sometimes it doesn't show us when a car has a bit of light damage, so we have to wait and see with what happens with Kazizel's pace here. But yeah, that could have been a lot cleaner between Devon and Kazizel there going into me.
Yeah, definitely. So I think Devon, knowing his experience, knowing his longevity as well within these races, he should be right there or thereabouts. But completing a move like that in Kazizel, I know it's one of the very much the difficult part of the tracks. Very aggressive for my liking, I'm going to say, out on track. The spray is still being kicked up out on track, but there is a full draw line now forming out on track. You can tell on board with Ryan down towards turn number 1 as Rico Rapata is into the pit lane. He's obviously being told to change the strategy early. I personally think it's not at the minute dry compounder tyres, but I think we're only about a lap or two away.
He's put on a fresh set of windows.
Really? Oh, front wing change as well for Luca Rapata. Intermediates. Hards for Aladini. Clearly he has heard me in the stream chat here. Mediums for Mitchie. Hards for Feddy. And Matt Zolso, if he comes in the pit lane, that'll be for set of hard compounder tyres, I'm assuming, as well. He's going to come in the pit lane. RCR are going to try this. But Luke Rapata on a set of inters. I think that is purely the case there for the ex-esports man of not changing your tyres coming in the pit lane. And if he has, he's just purely misselected them. And he can tell by how quick he is compared to Mitchie, and Mitchie's nearly in the wall, that it's not dry compounder tyres just yet.
Nope. On Guinness Gamble set of the dry, so they're going to be struggling for at least another lap or two minimum. But yeah, look at Rapaz. I mean, even with a bit of wing damage, I think you'd lose more by coming in and putting on a fresh set of inters than you would sticking out. You know, just surviving with a bit of wing damage until it goes to dries. I think that's a very strange call from the ex-esports man.
It is, and it'll be an even stranger call if anybody decides to come in the pit lane as well. I don't think it is the right case to bring into the pit lane. Mateo's just set the fast lap race, which indicates the track is getting quicker out on track, but it also does mean as well that potentially we could see drivers further down the field. Speaking of which, I thought Keki was coming in the pit lane there. He's actually been overtaken by Ryan through the final corner. Ryan gets the job done. Thuni's into second. He's got more ERS than Keki as well. The nice job done there by the EPL man. Marketos, though, on the back of Ryan's going to be the interesting one. The two Germans who made contact once upon a time in PSGL, PSF1 in Austria in season 34, I think it was. My first season of doing comms there. Marketos on the back of Ryan. These two absolutely adore each other, I've got to say, in terms of a friendship. But they are very good rivals out on track, and this hopefully will be the case out on track on lap 8 of 31, with the track still not close to even drying. So my prediction, if anybody heard me in the chat of saying maybe coming in lap 6, lap 7, don't listen to me. Simple.
And I think that's evident by the fact that Mitchie is already 11 seconds behind, picking up a 3-second time penalty just to Luca Rapata, and they both came in the pits at the same time.
Has indeed. Yeah, unfortunately, Markedo's still on the back of Ryan Azim there in third. Really nice sedate race early on compared to Monza, EEC and Legacy Division last night. Very aggressive racing in both. Mateo leading the way, Cameron Dad's there in second. Azim there in third. Drivers in the chat saying, Evan there, this Mateo guy is good, fair play. Rated R Mateo. Italian Stallion Mateo? Does that go potentially in that fold as well? But he is the PSGL PSF1 Drivers Champion. He is ahead of Cameron Dowd out on track. He's just set the fastest lap of the race as well, getting quicker and quicker as time goes by. Track is now beginning to dry, just coming through the final corner. That caught a glimpse of the first dry spots out on track, really beginning to form. So might mean, Mike, I think in about 2 or 3 laps time, certainly, I know I said this 2 or 3 laps time, 2 or 3 laps ago, 2 or 3 laps time, we should be seeing the drivers in for a full set of dry compounder tyres, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think we are getting closer and closer to the dry tyres starting to come into play. The dry line is definitely forming on the racing line as well, just visually for the first sector on Mateo's car. And so honestly, I think now both of the ET8 guys, they do have enough of a gap between themselves now to do a double stack successfully.
They have, and obviously with Azim's pace, or lack of pace compared to Cameron Dowd, it could actually work out in a very good thing for ET8 at this stage. Azim there in third, doing a good job. Ryan there in fourth. Markador's there in fifth. But the further that Azim falls back, Matteo is going to have the advantage. They're going to have that double stack. And ETA potentially, with Cameron Dowd's Azim, if Azim's tyres just absolutely come online compared to Cameron Dowd's tyres, they are going to be very much quicker out on track. Luke Rapazza, by the way, came in the pit lane on a set of intermediate compound tyres. He's 22.4 seconds clear of Mitchie. That's all you need to know about this track currently and whether it's dry or not. It is not dry. The gap is still increasing. So drivers, I think, are going to be coming maybe more midpoint of the race rather than anything else for the track to actually dry, which could be a big thing. Evan there saying in the chat as well about me mentioning the Matteo and the PSGL PSF1. But there we are. I won't say it anymore. I'll try not to anyways.
And one thing as well, Fede just come into the pits and put back on a set of intermediate tyres. So, I mean, he was on the dries and he's come back in and chucked on a set of inters. So, I mean, that shows how much he was struggling on the dries. But he is now officially a lap down in this race, as is about to be Matt Zozo as well, who is under pressure from being lapped from Matteo, who's directly behind him now on track.
Yeah, definitely so. It's going to be really intriguing, I think, further as we go into this race, how everyone is just going to find the grip, because Zizzle and Jeslar getting a private scrap potentially for 11th and 12th very soon. Luca Rapazza, that's a fresh set of inters that he's on, and he's gone a second quicker than Matteo on that compounder tyre. So Luca Rapazza is not only putting a second into Matteo, he's also put a second into the rest of the field. So this is good potentially for Luca Rapazza out on track. Obviously gaining that ground. 18.6 seconds. Could be a blessing in disguise, actually, coming in the pit lane, putting on a fresh set of inters and thinking, you know what, I could try and make something out of this. But now it seems to me the case where Mitchie is not losing as much time compared to what Luca Rapazza was doing. It's 29.5. I think I said it was about 28 last time around. So, Mitchie, it is getting quicker this track, but we are still a couple of laps out from actually turning dry compounder tyres. And the gap, by the way, between Matteo and Azim, just for double stack perspective, 7.5 seconds. More than enough time for double stack.
Yeah, absolutely. I think ETA now in prime position with both of their drivers to get a double stack done when the conditions revert over to dry compounder tyres. And yeah, just looking at the tyres between the likes of Luca Rapazza and Mitchie, 31 seconds now. So, I mean, you mentioned he wasn't losing as much time. And in that quick succession, he's lost near enough 2 seconds.
Yeah, clearly thinking that I'm completely wrong once again, which probably am. I mean, I'm tired from last night, let's be honest. Matteo leads the way. Cameron Dowd in second, Azim there in third, Ryan in fourth. Markador's there and finishing out on track, but it's just the same old battles that's going on out on track. Everyone's just running in their own private squabbles. Everyone is just running pretty much on the limit. Obviously, these drivers are running on the limit out on track, but hardly anybody is making any inroads. Bar Luke Rapazza, who again has put another 2 seconds into Matteo and Cameron Dowd and the rest of the field this time around. But in doing that, he's just put them 3-second penalties. So the less I say about him now, the better.
Yeah, Luca Rapazza really pushing the limits and just pushed the limits one too many times with the track limits, and that is a 3-second time penalty for the ex-esports man. Honestly, I'm sat here. I'm waiting to see who's going to be bold and brave enough to go for the move first. Cause we got obviously this three-way battle between the likes of Azim, Ryan, and Markados for the final podium position.
Oh, I thought we did have a battle, but we haven't. Mitchie's in the pits. Is this going to be for a fresh dry compounder tyre though, or is this going to be back onto the inters? Comes in. Oh, he retires. Okay. Oh, there's that. He would have gone onto a set of soft compounder tyres anyway, so that might just say the big question of... Oh, is that Matteo, by the way, is right on the back of Fede, who was a lap down, and Matt Zolso was also a lap down, and Matt Zolso there is getting in the way of ET8 in Azim, Ryan, and Markador. So this could be something to look at potentially from the steward's perspective. Is Mazzolzo allowed to run in ghosting mode ahead, or does he have to get out of the way within the blue flags? Personally, if I was him, I'd be getting out of the way of the blue flags right now, because it's a complete and utter nuisance for the guys who are battling in P3 and could end up losing the podium because of this.
Yeah, to me, I would say, getting out of the way and, just falling behind. You had the blue flags there for a reason. And one of the most annoying things, I mean, obviously I've experienced this in the past, when you're running with no line, The most annoying thing is having someone ghosting through you at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm just fixing some frame dropping that's going on OBS. Hopefully everything is okay now. I know Jav was mentioning about that. Has been running very smooth, I've got to say, here tonight. But now is the time. You can see it coming across the Anderson Bridge. It is starting to turn dry. Soon as I say that, DRS is now enabled. Thank you very much. Everyone's now going to come in the pit lane, and everyone's going to be on a set of dry compound and tires very soon indeed. But coming back to somebody's point earlier on about this track drying very slow, I completely agree. This track is Carson mentioned it earlier on. This track is very slow to dry, so drivers may necessarily stay out on a set of inters, but judging by DRS being enabled, everyone should be coming in. Matteo, though, stays out because he's within a second of Feddy and he's going to get DRS range. Cameron Dowd's there, staying out. Azim is in. Ryan is in. Marcados is in. Big question now for the front two. Have they gone a lap later than everyone else, and are they going to actually get this right? Or is Azim, Ryan and Marcados going to get this right by coming in the pit lane early? This is the key moment in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, absolutely. And just having a little look at the gap between Aladini and Matteo, it is pretty stagnant right now. So they're about as quick as each other, I think, in terms of the lap time. But I think that's just going to come down even more over the course of this next lap.
Definitely so. We'll be interested to see now because Azim's out of the pit lane. Medium compound tyres on the car. We'll put gap to leader on. Gap to leader is 34.8 seconds coming out the pit lane. Take a mental note of that and have a look at what it is at the end of this lap with Matteo coming in. It's around about a 26-second pit loss, if I'm not mistaken, around this track. So they will be about 8 seconds clear. I think Matteo certainly. Cameron Dowd will be about 4 seconds clear. But you can tell, coming through the first sector, Azim is losing time as opposed to gaining. But now, because the track is now drying, he's on the dry compound tyre, he will begin to pick up the pace. You can see now, beginning to whittle away, 34.8. It is very much still crossover period. But I think Matteo and Cameron Dowd haven't done a bad thing at all by staying at an extra lap. I think they've actually made the right call there.
Yeah, of course they're going to be coming to the pits now at the end of this lap as we're seeing the team beginning to close in. But yeah,
Matteo stays out! Matteo stays out, and look at the gap to Kazizel now. 34 seconds, 8/10 of a second gained. Matteo is staying out, Cameron Dowd is in. This is interesting. Is this potentially for ETA 1-2 so they can work together and Matteo stays out an extra few laps so they're closer together? Potentially? Really strange call for Matteo to stay out. I would have put it in that lap.
A very, very interesting strategy going on right now with the ET8 lad, and I mean, I'm not going to question it. I'm just intrigued to see where it's going to go from here.
And look at Cameron Dowd coming out of the pit lane. Cameron Dowd is ahead of Azim, easily coming out of the pit lane. Gap is reduced though. Gap is coming out of the pit lane 2.7 seconds. That gap I had it at around 4.2. So that is a 2.5 second gain on average from Azim to Cameron Dowd just on those 2 laps on that set of dries. If they're going to close in at that speed to Matteo, Matteo's lead potentially on this lap, Mike, could be whittled away completely, and he could end up being behind Marcados at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And with DRS being activated, now we're going to start to see some battles begin to happen as we got Ryan and Keke getting close to each other as well, running down into turn number 7. Michi has unfortunately left the session, returning in the pits early on. One person who I think has absolutely been hindered by staying out massively as well is Shazuz Kazizel down in P13 now.
Yeah, Kazizel's staying out there, so the medium compound tyres on that car definitely has done him in. And Cameron Dowd's gap, 28.8. That'll keep on whistling away throughout this lap. Matteo was in, but he cuts across the pit lane entry there on the outside. That's interesting. Matteo's into the pit lane. He should remain ahead, I think. He should remain ahead coming out the pit lane. But this is going to be a lot closer than what even anybody would have expected, I think, by him staying out. Joe mentioned a very good point, by the way, with the gap to the pit later and go for the fresher tyres. I completely agree with that. I think Matteo is definitely doing that. Cameron Dowd is coming through the final corner. Matteo is now coming out the pit lane. Matteo is going to be ahead, but barely! Oh my god, he nearly hit the wall coming out the pit lane. Goodness me, Matteo's giving me heart attacks. Matteo gets the race lead coming out the pit lane, but look at that. The gap is now barely 0.5 of a second.
Yeah, and with DRS, there's a perfect opportunity for Cameron Dowse to launch an attack on Matteo for the race lead. Because he's on with a 3-second time penalty, not helping Shazoo's chances in the championship. Same with Max Power with
Here comes Cameron Dowse.
Here comes Cameron Dowse.
On the outside line in towards turn number 7. This is the battle we want to see. The two young stars of console going at it now here in PlayStation to the inside of EML, to the inside of turn number 8 in EML. PSF1, Matteo and Cameron Dowse side by side. Now through turn number 9. Cameron Dowse gets the traction, gets the move. Shuley, brilliant move by Cameron Dowse around the outside of Penang corner at turn number 9. Cameron Dowse has said to Matteo, you might be PSGL PSF1 champion this season, my son, but I'm coming for that title next season here in EML and indeed in PSGL. Beautiful move for Cameron Dowse, gets the race lead. Team Shazoo in an absolute applause. Matteo probably thinking, why on earth did I do that and why on earth did I decide to fight there?
Absolutely incredible overtake there from Cameron Dowse into the race lead now. But that battle between Matteo and Cameron Dowse has brought the likes of Azim, Ryan and... well, just outside the 1 second is Margados, but if they continue the battle, it's going to bring Margados straight into it. But now we got a 4-way battle for the race lead.
And you know what this has done? This is exactly what I've said what would happen. ET8, Matteo stayed out there to help his teammate, but he hasn't helped himself though by picking up that 3-second penalty.
Yeah, I mean, we was about to say ET8 masterclass, but then Azim picked up the 3-second time penalty, but. Now, Ryan, I think, is going to be really pushing now to try and get the move done on Azim, knowing that he has that time penalty and knowing that he could potentially back him up like what happened in the first stint on the intermediate tyres.
Jerry asking what happened with Matteo. He stayed out, quite simply, 2 laps longer than where everyone else did. Azim, Ryan, they gained the time underneath their dry compounder tyres. Matteo stayed out an extra 2 laps, probably more to help his teammate, I think, more than anything else. Azim, though, hasn't helped himself, and neither has helped ET8 with that, because we've got Cameron Dowse out in front, Matteo second, Azim in third, and there's a safety car out on track. And who is that for? For Matt Zoso, crashing around the hairpin.
Yep, safety car deployed, and I was going to bring this up as a bit of a question, because I just looked down towards the back of the field, and Jesler and Feddy still on the intermediate tyres. I was about to say that could potentially cause a few issues with obviously the intermediates overheating and potentially you know what could happen is maybe it causing a safety car, but yeah, safety car deployed and it's gonna bunch everyone back up. So again, we're in for a treat again, James.
We are in for a treat, and this is going to be fascinating because everyone's now on a set of fresh medium compound tyres. Are they going to stay out there, get to the end of the race in that compound? Or are they going to risk pitting in? I think, honestly, it'd be very foolish, I think, to come in from a set of dry compounder tyres, a fresh set, as Ryan nearly spun coming to the chicane there. I caught that on stream, EPL. They're in 6th. Keki there in 7th. Was trying to juke, I think, himself more than anything into the pit lane. Devon, though, was in. On a set of hard compounder tyres, I understand why he's coming in. He's on that set of hard compounder tyres. He's into the pit lane. Gatkowski stays out. Freddy stays out. Max Power stays in. So this is good news, actually, for Devon and for Max Power, for CPI and IRT. They're staying out, they're getting away that sort of hard compounder tyres. Fresh mediums go on. They're going to be quicker towards the end of the race. Whether or not they're going to make the positions, though, is a different question.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of wear on the tyres, they're not going to be massively better off. I think around, what, 10% difference, I think, at this point?
Yeah, about a 10%. Maybe even more, maybe about 15% towards the end of the race. I mean, they're going to be under the safety car. So the mediums ahead, everyone that's on that set of medium compounder tyres ahead, are going to be feeling very fresh still. They will get to the end of the race. But that 10-15% tyre wear towards the end of the race, for Devon and Max Power, are going to be absolutely brilliant. Jeslar, by the way, is still on a set of inters.
I really hope this is just a bit of a...
I hope it's a glitch.
Yeah, I hope it's a visual glitch on our end. Someone from Esports, please let us know if Jesler is on a set of inters or if he's on a set of dries. But yeah, visually for us, a set of inters on a track as bone dry as Singapore is right now, not ideal for the Esports man.
Put it this way, Jeslar, if he was on a set of hard compounder tyres, the set of hards would be about 4 seconds quicker compared to what he is on right now and our screen in terms of an intermediate. I think he is generally out on track. And do you know what? He's out on track because it's raining again. It is raining again. Ooh. That is why he's on a set of inters. That's the answer to everyone's question. Jeslo is in. It's raining now out on track. This was not expected at all within the custom weather. We mentioned there in Race Director. In Race Director, as everyone's coming in the pit lane, rain is falling out on track. It was mentioned, and I'll read it here, rain, overcast, cloudy, and sun. No mention of rain in the mid-stage of this race. Singapore has thrown up an absolute curveball. Whether that is human-induced or not by Ryan is a different thing. That'll be for the steward to decide and have a look at in terms of the stream. But from our perspective, it's good because it brings everyone back together and Singapore throws up yet another curveball in this championship fight.
And Jesla is now ahead of Azim.
Wow. Oh, Jesla, was he? He is. He's ahead of Azim. This is brilliant. Oh my god. What on earth is happening in this race? For the good thing. For the good, what on earth is happening in this race? Please somebody answer me that.
Has it stopped raining already?
Has it? It has! What? What the hell? You saw that on my screen, didn't you guys, in the chat? Just to back me up that it was raining on Jeslo's screen about 45 seconds ago. And now I'm on board with them now, and it's completely stopped. And everyone's on a set of inters. And do you know who this has benefited more? Keki and Devon.
And Luca Rapaza down in 13th.
What the hell has gone on? What? Have they actually simulated a rain shower passing through the circuit on this game for the first time in 10 years?
I have
clueless.
Absolutely never seen anything like this before. In all the years I've done commentary on league racing, and I've never seen anything like this.
I am absolutely clueless. I mean, whoever's getting paid in the Singapore Met Office right now is getting paid bloody double overtime, I think, at this stage. Because he has just spiced up this race. Everyone's going to be coming back in. Cameron Dowds immediately is going to be chained into the pit lane. Matteo is in. Ryan's in. Marquez is in. Everyone is into the pit lane. This is absolute madness. And Luca Rapazza, as you mentioned, Mike, is now going to be in second because Keki's also came in the pit lane. Kazizzle speeds into the pits. No. And is it? I thought it was raining again out on track. It's not. Oh my god. Devon leads. Luca Rapazza second. Keki there in third. Everyone's going to get double stacked. We're still under the safety car, by the way. Just thought I'd throw that out there. And Aladini now is in third. This race is complete and utter madness. And I love it.
And Giovanna was on a fresh set of intermediates.
Oh my god, why?
Oh no, he's changing them, he's changing them.
He's changed. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. He has changed. You can only sit here sometimes and laugh at what is going on from this game and what this game films up sometimes. Liam there in the chat. EML might just be better than World. I agree. Stick here. Stick here. Don't let the guys at World know that I've said that. But Devon leads the way. Luke Rapazza in second. Aladini in third. For a championship fight, Mike, Devon, who's a multiple race winner here in EML, has just got the biggest fluke I've ever seen, I think, in league racing. He's there in the lead. Luke Rapazza there in second. Aladini in third. Troy A mentioned in the chat, can't believe RCR up in third because his teammate is useless. Shouldn't really say that on the stream. But Aladini is going to be the one that throws the big curveball because his pace compared to everyone else behind him is going to be so peculiar. And the safety car's in this lap. This is madness. Oh my god, and Devon slowed up and Aladini's into the back of Luca. Does he get a penalty for it? He doesn't. He doesn't get a penalty. That's going to the stewards.
Yeah, I think Devon put on the brakes there. Luca Rapazza responded to it, and Aladini going into the back of Luca there. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm so intrigued by the restart by here because at the same time as well, you got Cameron Dowds and Matteo on the back of Keke, and we saw their pace versus Keke earlier. This is going to be an absolute chaotic restart, James.
This is going to be absolute madness. We are here for the ride, and now we are here for potentially the victory from one of the teams potentially out on track. Devon leading the way, coming in towards turns 18 and 19. Now goes in towards turn number 18, floors the throttle. Now we get back to green flag racing, and Devon leads coming through the final corner, but Luca Rapata is right on his coattail, down in towards turn number 1. Everyone I think is clean through in the background. Ismail is into the pit lane, however, might be for wing damage potentially in that curveball that we saw with Devon putting on the brakes very late. Ismail is into the pit lane. Aladini, though, on the back of Luca Rapata, so far staying with the front three, which is really good from his perspective. But Keki there on the back of him is going to try and do him for chips, potentially demonstrating to a Memorial Corner. We thought it would have been chaotic restart. It is not, at least yet.
Yeah,
maybe it is now. Here's Ryan. No.
I was about to say, Aladini getting very close to the wall, going through turn number 8 there, and that almost opened the door up for Keke on the exit, and fortunately Keke was able to back out of it, but I mean, potentially could be a bit of wing damage on that RCR car.
Could be potentially indeed, and Keke is going to be right on the back of him. RCR are going to be absolutely loving life right now. NLR, Keke, Cameron Dowds, Matteo, every single team, I think, quite frankly, in behind him, thinking, why on earth is he there? This is going to make life a hell of a lot harder here for Keke on the back of Aladini. Aladini there in third. Here comes Keke, maybe for the inside line in towards turn number 16. Job done surely on the brakes. Keke is so much later on the brakes with Aladini, but Aladini says, I'm no slouch around the outside. Coming through turn number 16 and 17, gets the job back done. Keke went far too deep on the brakes, now gives Cameron Dowds a chance to get the overtake done, but now Keke waiting towards turn number 1. Second time is always a charm for the NLR man, and he's through into third.
That was absolutely fantastic manoeuvring there from Aladini to get back through on Keke, but Keke does get the job done in the end. And now we're going to see if Cameron Dowds can make swift work of Aladini here as he's on the ERS, he's in the slipstream. And is he going to draw alongside enough to go for the move on the inside?
He has to. Inside line, turn 7, job done. Cameron Dowds gets the respect I think he deserves there from Aladini, but here comes Matteo to the inside line of turn and brake. Very late on the brakes. Beautiful move though by Matteo. That is how you get the job done. Coming through the middle sector, Matteo through and he's into 5th. Did I say he was the PSGL PSF1 champion in season 36? He has job done through and he's into 5th. Aladini there in 6th. Good news for Matteo Cameron Dowds. They're clear essentially of the rolling roadblock there of the RCR man. Marquez though, at the worst part of the track, is right on the back of him. He's going to get held up an absolute treat here, as is the rest of the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was so important for Matteo to get through on Aladini when he did, because he cannot allow Cameron Dowds to get
Oh my God, Ryan! Ryan, how on earth has he got that car stopped? How on earth he's got that move done is a different thing. Beautiful move. Now getting Marquez and Aladini going side by side in the foreground of the shot. They're on board with him. Marquez job done. Aladini is a sitting duck. Marquez through and he's into 6th. Absolute madness going on out on track for the better. This race start was going to be chaotic. Aladini now picks up a 3-second penalty. Ryan's to the inside line of him in towards turn 1. There as well. Aladini trying to force him off, but Ryan through and he's into 7th. Gets the job done. Has to come across track. Comes across an Aladini. Spins Aladini nearly round. He gets the car back going again, but it's give everyone else in behind a big knock-on effect, and they're going to have to make it aggressive if they want to get past the Alpine.
Yeah, Ryan down here inside gets the move done, but both have DRS and both will be on their battery trying to keep a hold of their positions. Here comes Higatkowski though, down here inside of Aladini. Aladini is being absolutely
still there
right now.
But he's still there. He's driving in such a clean fashion compared to everyone else. Everyone else is just like, yeah, gung-ho, I want to go for the move on him. But Aladini is driving very fair and respectful, and I totally get that from his perspective. He started the safety car restart in 3rd. He's now down in 10th, but at least he's actually fighting for the positions, unlike getting out the way as what most drivers would do, including me, out on track in his situation. Fair credit to the man there in 10th.
Yeah, absolutely. Aladini put up a great fight with all these guys, and obviously Aladini doesn't get to battle everyone as often. Obviously, over the course of the season, RCR have been struggling throughout the course of the season, but Aladini getting a fair amount of action here in Singapore, and he's probably absolutely loving life right now.
It's about as much action I think RCR have had all season, I'm being frank here. I think it's brilliant to watch. That's also obviously further down the field. They're down in 19th position. He's well out of contention. But Aladini is fighting for the positions. You've got to fight for the positions. There are no slouches in Formula 1, apart from Lance Stroll in China. Aladini there in 10th, Jesler 11th, Azim there in 12th. This is good for this is good for Team Shizou, because they've got Kazizel 14. Cameron Dowds is ahead of Matteo right now. Aladini's giving Azim a real good run for his money. Here comes Jesler, though, down the straight, like shot out of a cannon. Comes the Red Bull to the inside line. Aladini pacing his car perfectly, but Jesler, too strong for him on the brakes, gets the job done. Aladini tries to get him on the switchback, but job done there for Jesler. The one weakness there for Aladini is on the brakes. He doesn't have enough commitment on the brakes. That was Jesler's move on the brakes, and he got the job done. Then he's into 10th.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Next up is Azim to try and get through on the RCR driver. And of course, Azim early on in this race was up in a fantastic P3. It was a front row ETA lockout. He's down here in P12 right now, trying to carve his way through after the chaotic pit stop window where we had a small little dab of rain causing chaos. Everyone in the pits for a set of windows. And the doubles.
Oh, beautiful move. And again, and look at this in behind Kazizel, trying to make the move on Gavano. And Gavano, I think, has got the job done on Kazizel there. So Gavano Thuni's into 14, Kazizel there in 15. Penalties-wise, by the way, the front three are battling, by the way. I'll cut to that in a second. 8 seconds for Kazizel, 9 seconds for Matzoso. Everyone else that you see on the right-hand side of your screen who have got a black and white checkered flag alongside their name have got 3 seconds worth of penalties. Luca Rapazza, Keki, Azim, Aladini, Fleddy, Max Power, Ismail, and that is it. So those 7 drivers have all got a 3-second penalty out on track, as here comes Cameron Dowds, Keki, and Luke Rapata on the back of Devon. Down into the Memorial Corner at turn number 7. They're all waiting their turn. And at the minute, Jess in the chat. At the minute, Mike in the chat. Devon leading the way. 49% of ERS. Luke Rapata on 25. 27 for Keki. Cameron Dowds, I bang on about him in terms of his ERS. 71, Matteo 84. Clearly a class above them in terms of ERS management.
Yeah, Cameron Dowds, Matteo, obviously just the pace that these two guys have got. They don't need to use as much ERS as everyone else, but I mean, right now, they do have to drain a little bit to try and get through on these 3 up ahead. And what we're waiting to see now is when the likes of Luca and Keki try to go for that move on Devon, because they will have DRS and they will have the advantage of the straight line speed.
ETA doing their own calculations in the chat. I've just done a quick calculation in my head. I think ETA are currently, as it stands, champions, as it stands out on track. But that is only if there's no more curveballs in this race. Matteo behind Cameron Dowds. Even if Matteo outscores Cameron Dowds, he doesn't really need to. And I think he can actually sit back. And it's Azim that's going to have to do the donkey work now for the team. They're ahead of Fleddy by 1.8 seconds, so it's really good from Azim. He's on the back of Jesler and Gatkowski. Aladini and Kazizel are fighting side by side, and Kazizel actually gets the job done. For every single place now for Kazizel to get this job done, really his life depends on it, and Team Shizou's life in the championship depends on it as well. Max Power to the inside line, by the way, towards turn number 5. Job done for him. Aladini gets the switch back. The RCR man back on his ERS, back to try and get the job done. Cameron Dowds getting the move done on Keki, I think, further up the field as well. Aladini still there with Max Power. Max Power through, and he's into 15th. Aladini in 16th. Devon there leading the way. Luke Rapata in 2nd, but Cameron Dowds got that job done on Keki, Mike.
Yeah, Cameron Dowds gets the move done through turn 7 and turn 8. Keki, nothing you could do in the end to keep Cameron Dowds in behind. And now there's a bit of a buffer between Cameron Dowds and Matteo, but that 3-second time penalty for Keki is just going to equalise that. It's just going to equalise it, and Matteo will get that position through penalties, but he'd rather get it done on track. And we're going to wait to see if the ET8 man's going to be able to get through.
Definitely so. I mean, Matteo, I think E8 will be pushing him maybe for the race win. I think if I was in Matteo's shoes, if I was his engineer right now, I'd be pushing because he's got so much more ERS to burn. It'll be very wasteful if he just sits in behind, lets everyone with a 3-second penalty drop behind him, and he'll finish up in the podiums in 3rd position. And that'll be more than enough for E8 to wrap up the championship. 56 points, I think it is, that is available next week. E8 had a gap of 60 coming into tonight, so they were 4 points ahead. Shizou had to outscore by 5. At this moment in time, Cameron Dowds is outscoring Matteo by 5, I think. But it's not enough because Azim is ahead of Kazizel, and that's where the negated fact comes in, with Azim outscoring Kazizel by currently 3 points. With that, Cameron Downs goes for Luke Rapazza. Mateo switches on Keki to the inside line, in towards turn number 7. Job done by 2 of the finest on PlayStation. Cameron Downs Thunies into 2nd, Mateo Thunies into 4th.
Yeah, and Cameron Downs needs to get through on Devon up next and try and pull a gap out ahead to make sure Mateo can knock it onto the back rim. The one team I'm looking at right now...
Fetty out of the race.
Safety car.
And Aladini out of the race as well. Aladini's crashed through turn number 8. Safety car deployed out on track. Fetty has crashed coming through turn number 5. He's straight on in the barrier. That is a very weird incident there from Fetty. Not say if it's intentional or whatever, I don't think it is. It might be the case, and Matt also gets a drive-through penalty that's been under the safety car. It might be the case where he's had an equipment failure or he's got caught on the outside curb there. That's what I'm going through my head right now. But Devon leads the way, Cameron Downs in 2nd, Luke Rapazza in 3rd. I did mention, Mike, Singapore has more curveballs, and they've just done another one with another safety car.
Yeah, and I was just looking at any team that could potentially keep the championship alive. And I was looking at Neverlast Racing. Obviously, Keke was in P5, Ryan in P8. But obviously, with everyone getting bunched up, I mean, Keke's going to fall down the order. And we're going to see who's going to be...
Ooh! Markenos is staying out. Okay. Okay. And also Gavano's staying out. Really interesting. But you were saying everyone's coming in the pit lane. Instead of soft compound tyres going on. And Keke, you mentioned, is into the pit lane. No front wing change going on in the car. Set us off compound tyres on. And he's dropped, actually came out behind Mateo. So it's actually not too bad. He hasn't lost many positions.
Yeah, Keke obviously behind Mateo going into the pit lane. Maintains position ahead of the... Actually, look at Rapazza drop positions. Yes.
He has. He got double stacked, I think. Did he get double stacked? No, he didn't.
What?
He got at least held up in the pit lane by... probably the Mercedes garage, probably more of Cameron Dowd, I think, more than anything else.
I'll tell you what, one thing that does change with the safety car is allow Kazizel to get rid of that 5-second speeding penalty. So now he only has 3 seconds. If he can kind of get himself onto the back of Azim, and maybe get himself ahead of Azim, obviously that will help Shazoo massively in this race.
It definitely will. I'm going to have a quick look at the point system and calculate, because we're now under safety car, calculate what everyone's positions would be. If the race was to stop now, it is beyond 75% race distance as well, so full points will be given at this point within this race, no matter what happens over the next 4 or 5 laps or so. 30 points for Marcados at the minute, 25 for Gadvano, 20 for Max Power, 17 for 4th for Devon. Cameron Dowd at the minute, this is where it gets interesting. 5th, 15 points. Mateo, 14 points. So Cameron Dowd scoring by 1 point compared to Mateo. Tracking along with me? I hope you are. Azim down in 12th position. Kazizel in 15th. That is, again, currently 3 points in favour of ET8. So that gap would be, to my calculation, 62 points as it stands out on track, with Azim ahead of Kazizel, and obviously Cameron Dowd's been ahead of Mateo by a point. I think I've got that right.
Yeah, 62 or 63 points. The one thing I'm looking at as well is CPI. So, of course, they were only 4 points behind Shazoo coming in tonight. They got Max Power up in P3 right now, Kigakowski in P10. Both do have 3-second time penalties, but a lot of drivers in and around Kigakowski and, of course, behind Max Power also have 3-second time penalties. So, it could be a case where CPI keep the championship alive as well.
Definitely so, and CPI, just for the benefit of everyone, I'll put the standings up just to see where everyone was at in terms of coming into tonight. ET8 out on top on 279, Team Shazoo on 219, CPI on 215, they're 64 points in behind. Max Power outscoring ET8. That's where it gets difficult, because CPI are currently outscoring Team Shazoo and ET8. So CPI at the minute, that's what, 20 points for Max Power, compared to Cameron Dowd on 15, so that's a 5-point gain. They're already ahead. Also that, Gatkowski's ahead of Kazizel by 5 points. So that he will gain, or 5 positions, as I say, that's 5 points additional. So CPI, by my calculations, and with ET8 factored in that, I think they're going to be 56 points behind, which is dead on what they need to go into the final race of the championship basically mathematically guaranteeing them a chance at the title without ETA having an absolute fluke next week. As it stands. It will all change, though.
Yeah, it's just those 3-second time penalties, and where they'll all finish will determine that. And of course, the soft tyres going to be so quick. But the safety car is coming in this lap, James, so I'll pass it over to you for the safety car restart.
Oh, God. What on earth is this race now going to hold? Are we going to get more rain coming towards the end of the race, potentially? Markadors is now the virtual Burmander. He's now the virtual safety car. We'll go on board with Gavano for this race start. Now, they're on a set of medium compound tyres. Don't get me wrong, mediums are going to be good off this restart, but the softs are going to be even better. So they are going to be swamped throughout the field if there is hardly any contact throughout this entirety of this race over the next 3 laps or so. They're also going to be, as the race is actually coming on very soon. Safety car is coming in this lap. There is the screen just to prove it out. Markados has gone. Markados has gone already. That was beautiful timing indeed by the cameraman. Gavano there to the inside line. Coming through 16 and 17 even, is now dropped off the back of Markados and now falls into the clutch of the Max Power, falls into the clutches of Devon, and now Cameron Dowd absolutely shot out of a cannon to the inside line coming down towards turn number 1. Devon pulls the inside line of Max Power. Cameron Dowd tries to send it around the outside. Wishful thinking there for the man there in 5th position, trying to get around the outside. Devon had a bit of contact with Max Power, and now Gavano goes for the race leader. Markados gets the job done. Markados switches it back. The EML PC winner in Jeddah. Now it's going to get aggressive. Down into Memorial Corner at turn 7. Gavano leads. Markados second. Max Power third. The mediums are still hanging on. Devon for a triple overtake to the inside line. Mateo, where on earth does he come from? To the inside line. It's aggressive, but it's still all clean for now. Coming through 3 wide. Mateo nearly put in the wall. They're still all clean coming out of that corner. And Mateo has got the job done. Markados Mooney's into 4th. Max Power in 5th. Cameron Dowd's in a box. Keki to the inside line into the Singapore sling. He has to back out. It's aggressive, but it's still pretty much all clean. Keki in the wall.
But he's in contact with Rainey.
And he's spun coming across the Anderson Bridge. Oh my God. Gavano leads. Devon second. Mateo there in 3rd. No doubt about it now. As it stands, Etain are title winners. They come to the inside line with Mateo on the inside of Gavano, coming through the kink of 15, now in towards turn 16, 17 and 18. Devon leads the way, Mateo second, Gavano there in 3rd. It's aggressive racing ultimately. Apart from that contact we had with Keki and Rayan, who's getting his elbows out of Max Power to the outside line. Job done for him. He's into 6th. Max Power there in 7th. There's a yellow flag out on track. Thaddeus Crash coming through in towards 16 and 17. He's obviously made contact with somebody, I think, there. Devon leads, Mateo second, Gavano there in 3rd. And my voice is giving up.
Yeah, absolutely. So much action going on in this restart. We got Ryan having a look all the way around the outside of Max Power here on the ERS. Tries to look for the inside. Max Power covers it off though. The battle for P8 is battling up and down this field, James. This is absolutely chaotic on this restart. Ryan,
and do you know what?
Ryan gets a move done on Martinos. Cameron Dowd on Giovanno.
Katsky's the one to watch out in all of this though, because Max Power is defending off Azim. Azim has got Kazizzle behind him. Kazizzle now to the inside line, on the back of the CPI man, nearly puts him in the wall, slight bit of contact I think with carbon fibre coming off, but Kazizzle is now behind Azim out on track. This race is now taking a complete different complexion to what I mentioned before the safety car came out. Kazizzle there in 11th, Azim there in 10th. Azim's tyres seemingly going already. Kazizzle on the back, Ryan to the inside on a Markadors, very aggressive, no love lost between the 2 Germans. Devon leads, Mateo second, Cameron Dowd in 3rd, Kowski gets the move done on Markadors. My God, we need to lie down after this. Marcus still fights with Azim. Azim to the outside line. Good news for Kazizzle. He's got a real target now on the back of the E8 man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, Azim, an absolute send from heaven.
Inside line. Contact. In the wall goes Marcadors. ETA might have not wrapped up that championship just yet. That was a bit wishful thinking from Kazizzle. Sorry, to the inside line, not Azim. To the inside line for Kazizzle. Shazoo have now absolutely ruined their chances there. Marcadors and Kazizzle in contact. Devon leads. The man who's got multiple race wins in EML against the man who's the PSGL PSF1 season 36 champion. PSF1, Mateo to the outside line, in towards turn number 7. Job done. Or is it? Devon aggressive. Mateo gets the switch back. Mateo has absolutely sold Devon to the absolute kipper, pulls him to the inside line of turn number 8. Matteo was still there into back Penang at turn number 9. Cameron Dowds is coming back in all of this as well. This is madness. Devon leads the way. Matteo in second. Matteo now into the race lead into the Singapore Sling. Gets put out on the curb. Devon still fighting aggressive. Here's Cameron Dowds. Round the outside of the Anson Bridge. Gets the job done. Matteo has to sit in behind. Devon leads. He's going to get his elbows out. Cameron Dowds in second. Matteo there in third. My voice is going, but I don't care. Cameron Dowds and Matteo. Second and third. Gatkowski and Luke Rapazza. Ryan, all sorts of contact going on further back through the field. But Devon leads the way. Coming now in toward the final straight. The final DRS detection point. Cameron Dowds and Matteo are right on the back of Devon. Cameron Dowds around the outside line. This could be for still Team Shazoo's chances. Matteo gets a double switch back, but he makes a mistake. 3 wide into the final corner. Matteo to the inside line. Can't get that. Cameron Dowds and Devon to the line. Cameron wins. Devon out on track, but a 20-second time penalty is given for Cameron Dowds for getting the place, and that hands it to E8 on the plate. Devon wins. Matteo in second. Gavano in third. And I can definitively say, with Cameron Dowds down in 14th with that penalty, if it doesn't get removed, and Kazizel there down in 12th, ET8 are your Season 6 EML Team Champions. Breathe.
Breathe indeed, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm doing the math anyway to see if Cameron Dowds, if that 20-second does get removed, whether or not it is alive or not. I mean, he does have the fastest lap as well, so that'd be 31 points for Cameron Dowds if it does get removed. And Kazizel would be picking up 7 points for 13, so that's 38. Matteo picking up 20 if it gets removed, and you got Azim picking up what would be 8th place if the 22nd gets removed, and that's 12 points. So I believe it's a 15-point gain for Shazoo if it does get removed.
But that incident with Kazizel and Marcados could throw that completely off guard. I know they ended up further down the field. Marcados ended up out of the race. Kazizel ended up further down the field. That could be the big ultimate decider in this championship battle. It'll have to be decided in the steward's room. We're not going to decide this out on track, but my God, what a race that was. Devon, with the composure of a maniac, I'll be honest, out on track on the final lap of the race. It was absolute cinema in terms of that. But Devon takes the race win. He got aggressive. But you need to in a track like Singapore. It's one of the maddest and one of, quite frankly, the best races I think I've seen in Singapore from many different reasons. But Devon takes the race win. The multiple EML race winner and Season 4 Drivers' Champion is your race winner here tonight. For Matteo there in second, Gavano there in third, EPL on the podium, I think, for the first time in ages. Ryan there in fourth, Ryan there in fifth. Gatkowski in 6th, Azim there in 7th, Luke Rapazza 8th, Jeslor 9th, Ismail 10th, Max Power 11th, Kazizel 12th, Keki 13th. Passes that for Cameron Dowds. That 20-second penalty does get removed. He's 3/10 ahead at the line, so therefore he would bring that gain for Team Shazoo. At the minute though, ETA are champions. Cameron Dowds 14th, Matt's also there 15th, his best result of the season with everything that went on in that race. Marcos Fleddy all out of the race late on, Aladini out, Freddie out, Mitchie out. Oh, where on earth do we start with that one?
I mean, I've said before, like, I've never commentated over a dull and a bad Singapore. Up and down the field, and it definitely was one to be a spectator for, and dare I say, a race of the season candidate? Did I say it at the start of the race? Did I say it?
He did. He did, to be fair. He did. And oh my word. Well, I mean, we're going to get the cameras on pretty shortly. In fact, actually, you can see our faces there right now. Oh my God. That was pure madness, cinema. I don't know what to describe that race. I'm absolutely sweating. My voice is gone. But it's what we love to do. We love to be commentators at the end of the day. And that race delivered it all. There was rain at points of the race where we didn't even think there would be rain. That race had everything, and it's brought ETA currently, provisionally, as championship winners But Team Shazoo, Cameron Diaz, that 20-second penalty for that illegal overtake, albeit potentially, that is going to be the ultimate decider, along with Kazizel's incident with Markadors. That, unfortunately, is in the hands of Team Shazoo rather than Team ETA. ETA's championship win is taken out of their hands, but one of their closest rivals than Team Shazoo.
Yeah, I mean, as it currently stands, what's called ET8 are the champions and that, and obviously it'd be thoroughly deserved if it does remain that way. Obviously, as you mentioned, that Kazizel incident could be a point of contention. The 20-second time penalty, if it's removed, could obviously, if Kazizel does not lose any places for that incident, then to my math, if it's a 6-point gain for Shazoo, which would keep the championship alive for one more race going into the final round, but it'd be 54 points to my maths. 54 points going into the final race with 56 available. Essentially, at worst, ET8 essentially have one hand on the trophy. At best, they're already crowned champions.
At best, they're already crowned champions. At worst, they're going to be fighting with Team Shazoo for the title next week, which, in either circumstance, is good for ET8 because they have got one hand on the trophy. They can only do very minimal things, I've got to say, next week to try and wrap up the championship. And if they do that, it is going to be very, very increased. Cameron's dad saying the penalty's getting removed. Very unfair penalty. We can only call it how it is at the minute. Cameron got a 20-second penalty out on track. That's why we're calling ET8 as championship winners for now. But that 20-second penalty does get removed. Cameron's dad mentioning that. I'm sure Team Shazoo will be absolutely ranting at the stewards for that. And if that does get removed, Team Shazoo go into next week with that 15-point gain and with a championship fight still alive, no matter how minimal that chance is.
Yeah, the only thing that would be a point of contention would obviously be the Kazizel incident. And depending on actually, to be fair, I think considering Matt Zozo was a lap down in the end, obviously a minute 18 behind Cameron, behind the race leader in the end, I think Kazizel would lose just that one spot to Keke if it was a 5 or a 10-second or even a 20-second time penalty in the end. So, I mean, it would be 5 points gained for Shazoo at the best now. If both of these incidents get resulted in penalties being removed, and of course Kazizel's incident if that's penalised as well. But I mean, as it currently stands, ET8 EML F1 champions. Provisionally, of course.
EML F1 champions indeed. Matteo is going to be with us in a minute. We're also getting an interview from EPL Felix, who's the engineer from EPL for Gavano. He has to go, unfortunately, but EPL Felix will be giving us the interview very soon indeed. As soon as they get in the waiting room and the interview room, we'll transfer over there. But we've got more to come, believe it or not, next week. It is a championship finale, potentially, out on track next week in Abu Dhabi, 1st of May. You do not want to miss it. We had Matteo and Cameron Diaz there. That battle was phenomenal. We had phenomenal racing throughout the field. We had everything. We had a bit of rain. Abu Dhabi might deliver just the same bit of drama. F2, of course, live at 7 p.m. UK time. Nearly forgot the time there. F1 at 8 p.m. UK time. But all I can definitely say is no matter what happens next week and no matter what that build-up is to next week, whether we have a championship fight or not, everyone wants to go out there in style. Everyone wants to fight for their final positions. And hell, even the teams further down the field with the demotions on the line, RCR included in that right now, they are going to be very much hoping for not only miracles, but also very good racing out on track next week.
Yeah, absolutely. RCR, as you mentioned, going to be hoping for miracles, and miracles almost came true for RCR. I mean, we had Haladini up in a podium position early on in this race. It was absolutely incredible, and yeah, I think RCR, I mean, it's not looking good for them to stay in F1. It does look like they are on their way down, but I mean, strange things happen here in EML and on the Formula One game, so we can never say never here in Esports Masters League.
Murray Walker once said, anything can happen in Formula One, and it usually does. I'm going to say it now on the 24th of April, 2024 at 9:39 p.m. in the UK. Anything can happen in F1 sim racing, and it usually does. Yeah,
And
may as well.
You quote that, put it up on Twitter.
Quote that, put it up on Twitter. George Morgan's not getting an ideal on that one either, but hopefully we will get some interviews out on track. We will be doing the interviews, by the way, on Discord, not on PSN. I know Felix has mentioned there he can join on PSN. We will be doing them on Discord. Yeah, Jav potentially could be joining for IRT as a representative for them as their perspective as well. We have got more action, by the way, on Sunday, which is up and coming. Abu Dhabi, 28th of April, 7 p.m. UK time. Josh Griffin Meek and I believe Alex Heron is alongside him in the commentary box once again for EMLPC. We saw an EMLPC winner on the grid in Markadals here tonight. Could we see more of the same in Abu Dhabi, where drivers here from console apply their trade once again on PC in MLPC on Sunday?
Potentially, only a time will tell. Of course, make sure you all tune in on Sunday for the PC Championship season finale. And I believe we do have Matteo already in the waiting room. So should we head over?
I think we should. I just need to find a suitable graphic to try and put up. I think the Be Right Back will be all right, won't it? I hope. It should be fine. We haven't got an interviews one, so that's why I'm... Oh, unless we put the cameras on.
An intermission? I mean, we could put the cameras on.
Could put the cameras on. Oh, but then again, Mateo's going to join the chat, and we have to go to the interview room and put our cameras on. So, yeah.
Ah, yes.
We'll do the Be Right Back right now. Actually, no. I'll tell you what, I'll take us to the lobby screen. There you go. That's a bit of an intermission screen. We'll take you there. We're going to go over the interview room right about now. I'm going to turn my camera off because it is just lagging slightly, but I will see Mike there in a second. Oh, Mateo's now gone. Brilliant.
He's still there for me.
He's still there? He isn't there for me. Hang on. I'll join anyways. Oh no, I've done the wrong one. Oh my god, I've done the wrong one. No wonder he wasn't there. I've done the wrong call.
Oh, no.
I've done the PC one. Oh my word. You can tell how mad that race was. And you can tell how mad I am in terms of that. But we can now speak to the man who ended up finishing in what? P2, 3, 4? I don't know where he finished in that race. It was Matteo. P2, I think, out on track. Congratulations on that. And once again, we saw you right at the end of the race with a very cool head. No matter what was going on with Devon and Cameron Dowd, you kept that cool head. Talk us through that race because it was just pure madness.
First of all, starting from qualifying, perfect for the team because we got a 1-2 just at the death. Nearly perfect lap for me. Lacked only sector 1, but in the end the result matters and it was a 1-2, so perfect position to start the race from. Then Azum struggled a bit, but yeah, he was still in P3. And I got the whole field by 4 seconds at least in 13 laps or something. Now, I don't know what you have thought when you saw me going longer on the intermediates, but we had all planned. We knew the tire advantage was going to come in clutch in the late stages of the race, and it was already really close to Cameron. But yeah, safety cars had to ruin the strategy. Everything went into the bin. Also, those light raindrops who lasted less than a lap kinda confused us. But in the end, we were in the perfect position to win the title on the last lap. I had more ERS. It seemed like an easy move, but yeah, I think you all saw what happened. Just tried to keep my head cool and bring the car on the finish line to get some points and maybe win the title after the penalties.
Yeah, definitely. So there's so much questions, I think, that we've got more than answers from that race because Cameron obviously picked up that 20-second penalty further down the field. He gets that removed. Team Shazoo were going to be in the title fight going into next week, so it still could be alive for them. I mean, judging by what we saw on face value, let's take the final lap of the race, first and foremost, because, as I say, that cool head, running 3 wide and towards the final 2 corners, you must have been thinking to yourself, I'm just going to have to back out of this and hope for the best.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't really want to back out, but I think to try and stay side by side, I had to brake way earlier than the guys on the outside. And me backing out was just a natural consequence because I think I backed out a little bit too much to make good use of the oversteer that got out of the last corner. But yeah, as I said, I just wanted to finish the race in P3 on track and don't crash or do anything stupid because yeah, in the end, points matter. And I think that after all, we still did a fairly nice job to get them in the end.
Yeah, definitely so. And I think, obviously, in terms of that, there's going to be a lot more to come from as well. Obviously, that 5th-place grid penalty that you had in qualifying, that I think is getting reported by your manager, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just seeing this now coming through on the threads. So that will obviously be race directed and everything. That should be all okay. That should all be in order. But yeah, I don't even know where to go with my next questions, to be honest. So I'm going to hand you over to Mike. Mike, any questions?
Well, I mean, Matteo, you alluded to the obviously the very strange dropless of rain that we had like halfway through the race, and everyone diving in for a set of winters again, and it only lasting around about half a lap. Obviously, on the restart now, obviously there were some guys that stayed out on the drives and how they gambled. How important was it to make sure that you followed Cameron through? Because we saw early on with Aladini, you were absolutely nailing the overtake on him as soon as Cameron was able to get through. How important was it to get through at that point?
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, after the start, we planned a race. Me going in a 1v1 with Cameron, basically, even if it wasn't a 1v1 in the end. And Azem going in a 1v1 with Cazizol, even if they were decent. We just tried to put both cars ahead of the Shazoo ones, and both in the pit lane, following every step they did, and also on track. You can't lose time with traffic here in Singapore. And so, yeah, I knew I had to make moves if we wanted to close the championship today. So a bit hard, but in the end, that wasn't the hardest part of the race. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the intermediate conditions at the start. I mean, your pace at the beginning of the race, absolutely electric, and lighting up the times. Was you very confident that if it stayed indoors for the entire race, that it would have been all manageable for you and throughout the entirety of the race?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe James remembers this. A while ago in another league, there was a similar race to this in Singapore intermediate conditions, and I was incredibly fast. So I just tried to replicate that from a while ago in this race, and I think I showed it, because 4 seconds in 13 laps are absolutely fantastic from a driver's perspective, obviously. And yeah, as I said, so we just try to learn for the season finale in Abu Dhabi.
Absolutely, and of course heading into Abu Dhabi next week. Obviously, provisionally right now, 88 are champions. Are you going into the mindset of celebrating the championship now, or are you expecting it to still be mathematically possible for Shazoo going into the final race?
As of now, with considering Cameron's penalty being removed, I don't think we are champions, but we will just wait and see what the stewards report is, because at the moment it's just a mess and you can't really tell whether we are champions already or not. So yeah. Hopefully we can celebrate later in the week and take it a bit chilled in Abu Dhabi to round off the season.
Okay, I think I've given James enough time to think about the question. James, back to you.
Yeah, all I'm going to allude to really is the fact that Matteo won the championship last night. Had the 8-minute interview, by the way, which has been posted on PSGL social media. So if you do want to catch that, it was a very humble interview. Once again, with Matteo as always. But Matteo, I'm now going to give you the floor. Who do you want to thank from tonight's race in terms of what was pulled off at ETA?
So, unlike Monday's interview, I got only one person to thank, actually two. But the main one is absolutely Livebot, because, as I said on Monday, absolutely fantastic setups. And tonight he came up with an absolutely monstrous setup, because in 2 short qualifyings, including the official one, which we did tonight in the race, I pulled off my PB ever in this track. So absolutely fantastic setup. Shout out to him. and also Evil for joining the party during the race and also helping us with engineering. So shout out to them both, and absolutely thanks to them for being spot on as always.
Yeah, me and Mike were alluding to the fact that engineers do get forgotten about within our intermission that we had earlier on. Engineers do get forgotten about, so it's always good to give them the credit, and it's always good to give the team the credit as well, because ultimately people get forgot. People just realise, yeah, it might just be one man and a machine and a wheel, quite literally. Sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes there is a lot more teamwork going on behind the scenes, like engineers, like strategists, like everything else going on within the team events. But congratulations on that P2. I'm sure it's not going to be the last interview that we might have all week. Go and enjoy Ethan.
Thanks, James. Thanks, Mike. Have a nice evening.
We will do indeed. Thank you so much. And we are currently waiting on Felix and Java potentially to be given roles for the interview room, which hopefully we can get them in. If not, we're going to have to do a lot of stalling, I think, trying to get them in. It is already 10 to 10 over here, so we'll be going to bed very soon indeed, I am sure. Or at least one of us will be, and resting his voice after that. But that race, Mike, once again, and that interview for Matteo, I think just summing up everything within that race. It was pure madness. He had that element of control in the final lap of the race, and it was just simply brilliant, I think, to watch from his perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an incredible race throughout. It got turned on its head so many times as well, to the point that we had no idea which way it was going to go. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a race of the season candidate for me. Race of the season candidate.
Race of the season candidate for you indeed. Hopefully that waffling has done enough now to bring our man into the commentary box. The man who was there in the chat. Mr. Jav, are you here? Oh, let's push the talks on. He might have to do a push to talk.
I think push to talk is on.
Oh god. Don't say it is. Please say we can get it working and he can just put like a key or whatever onto his push to talk and then we can work it that way. Ugh. That's what we didn't think when we were trying to conduct these interviews, by the way. The fact that push to talk is on within this interview room. So we've got access as per usual. And yeah, Jav, unfortunately, I don't think can do anything. So yeah, really strange. Really strange. He is back alongside us now. Any joy on getting Jav in?
I mean, we got Jav in. Felix just joined it. He's struggling to.
He's struggling to join.
But yeah, hello. Sorry.
Jav, there should be a button on your phone that you gotta hold down to talk. That's Stefan. That's Stefan. I can't hear it.
Anyway,
microphone button, Jav. Microphone button.
Well, you sort out Jav's technical difficulties that he had. I think we've got Felix in the chat, if I'm not mistaken. Felix, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
You are here. Fantastic stuff. Gavano P3 out on track. Congratulations again. I think EPLs, I'm just going to have a look at the graphic. EPLs, what's that? Third podium, I think, of the season. So congratulations on that. Gavano, I think it's fair to say, got very lucky with that 20-second penalty that Cameron picked up late on. But P3, though, and the P4 from Ryan, very strong result from EPL.
Yeah, we were very happy with it. Giovanni was, he had a quali ban at the start, and then got spun out at like lap 5 or something. So coming back to a P3, maybe P4 later on is very good. And Ryan had a great quali and race as well. And then defending for us he was a great teammate for us today. I'm very happy with both of them.
Very happy with both of them, and obviously focusing on Gavano more than Ryan. Obviously him picking up that P3, him getting spun out early on, him facing all that trials and tribulations, with how close it was right at the end with the safety cars really affecting how the other guys went and really affecting how Gavano went through the race. Do you think he could actually have won that race?
I think he could have won it, yeah. I think, everyone was soft and he was on, what was it? The 13 laps, old tires at the end. So if he had soft, he would definitely have won it. He was one of the fastest guys on the track, I think, today. All praises to him. I can just thank him for the podium today, and yeah, he's done amazing.
definitely so. And I think EPL really did need that result because you were, what, 7 points, I think, behind IRT coming into tonight. Obviously, I think the 7-point difference is now completely gone because CPI obviously finishing off further down the field. I think you've now overtaken them in the standings. So going into the final final race of the season in Abu Dhabi, what is the team's preparation for EPL, for EML even, and what preparation is different to what you're doing in Legacy Division? Because I know in Legacy Division you're going to throw pretty much your whole squad at every single track.
I don't know yet. We haven't really had the discussions about the future. Obviously, our full focus is on World right now. But I think definitely you want to overtake CPI and maybe create a bigger gap, because I think they're main rivals in maybe all of the competitions we're doing right now. So I think a lot of the focus will go into World, but then the rest of it will go into EML with the drivers who won't be participating in World. I think that's what we'll be doing. Yep.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a good plan, I've got to say. A well-oiled machine, I think EPL have got going on there. And to pardon the pun, they've certainly got an L plan out on track as well. Mike, forgive me from that bad pun. Any questions?
I mean, the question is obviously, how do you think EPL have done over the course of the season? And because obviously, it's been a good fight now through the midfield. Now, obviously, I believe mathematically you're secure in staying in F1 for next season. Are you looking to be pushing further up the grid now from next season onwards?
Yeah, definitely. If we look at Spain, I think that was the first round, right? Yeah, Buildup with the podium was, we had great expectations going into the season further, but then we were very disappointed when we saw that we had not performed at the level which we had hoped for. So now going into the next season, we will be fighting for wins nearly every race. I think everyone agrees with that.
That is brilliant. Sorry, James. I was trying to sort out the technical issues with Jav at the same time, so I was kind of spaced out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, a fantastic result tonight. Obviously, a P3, P4 finish. Obviously, provisionally right now, obviously we don't know what's going to happen with the 20-second time penalty with Cameron Dowds. But I mean, going into the race next week now, Abu Dhabi. How confident are you that you can kind of replicate this for EPL next week?
I think we'll take a podium or a win, to be honest. That's just the only answer I have right now.
Oh, we would have to see that. James, what do you?
I like the confidence. You've got to be confident going into the final race of the season. I certainly like the confidence going into next week from EPL's perspective. Felix, go and enjoy your evening.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Very welcome indeed. And hopefully, because I can now see he's got the PlayStation symbol, hopefully this is a lot easier. Jav, are you here?
Hello?
He is. There he is. We can hear him. It's the main man himself, who normally hits me out on track in League of Europe, but
Whoa.
Well, I normally hit him out on track. It's the opposite, but there we are.
I was going to say.
Obviously, he's an IRT representative here tonight, so no brashness coming from us in terms of our rivalry in League of Europe. But P1 out on track from Devon. He got his elbows out on that final lap of the race. You must be so proud of the team.
Listen, I don't think anybody in that event tonight knows what they just watched. Might be the best race ever on PlayStation. I'm not going to lie to you. We got a bit lucky with whatever thunderstorm lasted for 2 seconds, so it put us up in the lead of the race. Listen, I don't think IRT have won a race in top tier VML before, so being in that position, obviously under pressure. Devin being a new driver to the team, it was his debut tonight. Listen, we had to put it all on the line. So Devin did that. He went for the win. I think it was hard racing. Nobody got damaged. No one DNF'd. I think it was a good race at the end of the day. So
I think it's just
part. Really.
Yeah, I think it's just part and parcel of the track, really. Singapore is a very aggressive track to go racing at, and I think that was definitely seen in the final couple of laps of the race. Just on with Devon, actually, because obviously Devon was part of FER before he came into IRT. He's had multiple wins in EML this season. Do you think that really helped him in terms of his mindset coming into tonight?
Oh, definitely. You know, Devin's driver's got a lot of experience in this event. So when we got the chance to put him in the lineup, it was a no-brainer. So, to be honest, it's quite rare for a driver like Devin to join a team with the stature of IRT. But we're looking to grow into the next game, so I'd say watch out for IRT next game.
Watch out for IRT next game. Watch out for Devin on the next game as well, if he can produce another performance like that here tonight. And actually, going through the history books, we've only came here twice, I think, in the past in EML PSF1. And in fact, Devin did take the race win for FBR in Season 4 when he last came here. So obviously, if he keeps that race win, it's going to be 2 on the trot for the man who quite literally has joined IRT off the back of having that confidence, not leaving FBR, and now really getting back into his mindset of becoming one of the best, hopefully, on PlayStation going forward.
Well, yeah, well, we hope to keep the win. I think everybody knows it's not going to be the case. Cameron's 22nd penalty will get removed probably. Although on the safety car restart, Cameron did go off track and still kept the overtake going with Devin, so potentially we could look into something there, into potentially getting an advantage for Cameron. So you never know. It's up to the stewards to decide the fate of the race. If we keep the win, we'll celebrate it. If we get P2, we'll celebrate it. If we get P3, we'll celebrate it. End of the day, we're happy, so we're not going to complain too much.
And my final question before I hand you over to the God Welshman on the right-hand side of me. Obviously, going into the final race of the season, Abu Dhabi, you I think are now a 6th in the championship, or 7th in the championship, even behind EPL with their points all here tonight. What is going to be the full mindset focus going into next week in Abu Dhabi from an IRT perspective, and how can you overcome that deficit that EPL have got now?
Well, EPL are a good team. They've got a lot of good drivers, so it'll be hard to see what would happen in the final race. We've got a good roster as well. Obviously, every team wants to finish as high as possible. That's our aim. If we can do it, we can do it, and hopefully we can get a good lineup out and beat EPL. But you never know with Abu Dhabi as well. It's a track that there's a lot of racing involved.
Yeah, I'm expecting Tales and Gavano potentially to be their lineup. I've got to be honest, for EPL
Probably.
next week. No, normally is the case. They're normally quite strong, I think, around that track. But you never know. Mike, any questions? And hopefully you'll have a good catch up after this.
Well, I mean, the one question I wanted to see if you got any information on what happened with Fleddy in that race. Of course, DNF towards the end of the race. But you got any info on what happened with Fleddy?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I did see a clip in our Discord earlier. I believe there was unfortunate contact with a RCR driver and ended up putting us in the wall. So it's unfortunate for Freddy because he was having a good race. And yeah, it is what it is. It's racing. It's Singapore. Hard racing with closed walls. Anything can happen, but we move on.
And of course, I mean, you alluded to what's called IRT pressing on for the next game, and that's one thing I do want to highlight now. Like the improvements at IRT over the past 2 games have absolutely been incredible to watch, and I am a big fan of IRT, and I hope that you guys continue to improve and get better and better. I got a lot of love for IRT.
I appreciate it. It's a good team to be part of. I think it's a gem in the rough is what I like to call it. We've got good management. It's got people like Stevan, Thomas, Sieb. You've got good drivers in the roster, really. You've got people like Sieb himself, Devin, Fleddy. You've got Phil, Frank, who is also there sometimes. To be honest, it's a good foundation. We're building towards something good, and we'll keep building towards it. And hopefully we can be at the top next game.
I hope to see it as well. James, back to you.
This is coming from the man, by the way, that is wearing an Esports Wales t-shirt right now, unless he has taken it off in the midst of this interview. But there we are. Jav, oh, go on.
I mean, I'm going to say that, you know, the IRT, ESW, and now we were very close now back in the day.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. Who?
We're gone now. We're gone.
Yeah, what team's still going on F1 sim racing? IRT, thank you very much. With that, I think I'm going to say to Jav, go and enjoy your evening.
Cheers. Gonna go with my dog.
Very welcome indeed. And that rounds us off very neatly for tonight's live stream. Thank you very much, by the way, for hanging around, because those interviews did take a long time. compared to what we normally have. They'll be much more succinct, I've got to say, going into next week and certainly going into next season as well. And speaking of the rest of the season, let's have a once-a look again at the calendars. That's the PC Championship coming up first of all on Sunday, 28th of April, 7 PM UK time for the action out on track in Abu Dhabi. And then you've got us on PlayStation on Wednesday even, for Abu Dhabi, the 1st of May out on track. F1 at 8 PM UK time, F2 coming before that, of course, at 7 PM UK time. It's normally Webble that takes you through the F2 action. And then you've got us, lovely lot, taking through the action, myself and Mike, for F1 next week. Abu Dhabi, potentially a season finale. Tune in. I know Joe mentioned earlier on he was getting a PlayStation. I hope to God people are going to be inspired by that race, because I don't know what we witnessed, but I bloody enjoyed it.
Absolutely, and that is what esports sim racing is all about tonight. You never know what's going to happen. A race like that, it really does light the fire under your stomachs tonight. It really does light the fire.
It really does, and it brings that passion, I think, into commentary, brings that passion, of course, into sim racing, and we've all got a love for the same thing. Motorsport, passion for sim racing, passion for motorsport, and hopefully we can all share that going into next week on the final race on this game cycle in Abu Dhabi. But that's not all, because on the 1st of May, at the end of the live stream, there'll be a TML announcement, is what I can say from this. And I'm working on this by myself, so nobody knows about this. TML will be coming back, and there's an announcement about TML on the 1st of May. So that's in, what, 7 days' time? That's enough for us to get something special going for Season 10. And with that little bit of tentative bite that I've just given exclusively on the stream, Maze didn't even know that was going to happen. We're going to end off the stream. Big thank you, of course, to our sponsors, Next Level Racing, who provide us with this lovely chair that I've sitting in. You probably saw in the background on the cameras earlier on. And, of course, to Rising Lions, who provide this lovely beanie hat, which I have around somewhere, which I can't show on the stream right now, because we haven't got the cameras on, but it is there, and they do support us as well, and they will be supporting us going into Season 7 as well. Oh, with that, I think we're going to go for lie down. Thank you so much for watching here in Singapore, to Abu Dhabi next week for EML PSF1, the season finale. Goodbye.